Anyway, folks, I'm not going to wait for people to come on. Don't want to hit the bed too late this evening. Um, I got written, and there was some valid information in there about he's no longer doing these two little jobs. He had an LLC, limited license, with some company thing for some crap. I don't know. But then he was running the barbecue business, and apparently he's not running either one of them because he's incapacitated. Apparently, what I'm told, and you could verify this, whatever, is that he has what you might call early onset Alzheimer's disease. I always thought he never could do a show real well, and I don't know. I don't know, something always seemed a little strange about him, but I tell you, man, they're dropping like fucking flies. Um, Karma, call it what the fuck you want to call it. I don't care. Whatever, man. Wasn't my favorite person. Threatened to kill me and Gilda, another one. I have no mercy for that motherfucker, I'll tell you that. I'm sorry if you think, a few of you people think I sound pretty cold. But I'm not going to warm up to certain people on here. That's just not going to happen. That's just not going to happen. So I believe it could be true, and everybody's hiding this. But, my resources find out information here and there. So sounds pretty true. He's got what you call early onset Alzheimer's, and he's considered to be incapacitated, cannot run his businesses. So it's believed that he is indeed alive, but not doing too well. That's what it sounds like. Yeah, I know boat companies he was trying to get involved with in his barbecue business. And I think he was doing that with his brother, actually. I think he was eating up the profits too. But, you know, bad things happen to the best of us, or bad things happen to the worst of us, according to according to how you want to look at it. Boy, does Barry sound like shit. Well, I don't know if he's on antibiotics, but antibiotics, if it's viral, that doesn't do anything about viral. But even with his throat the way it is, he still can't shut his mouth. He still feels he got to do show. How does it feel, Frank? Well, no, I did a show on that. I beat you to it, bud. Slick, I beat you to it. I said, pretty much the same title. How does it feel that you're going to go to prison? Mm-hmm. I don't know. I get tired of talking about this shit. Probably spent a little bit too much time talking about it. In between, I do go on my life. And you know, there's some people I could wish the best for. I have my daughter, who's we don't speak, but I do wish the best for her. Life goes on, whether somebody's in your life or not. But I don't think he's taken his situation very seriously. Or maybe he is, and he's just being extra cocky. But he kind of knows what's going down. He has herpes of the throat, herpes of the throat. Yeah, I guess you could get that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess. Why not? Sure. Herpes spreads, mucous membranes, and sure, why not? And no, I don't pretend to be a doctor, but it doesn't mean somebody cannot be learned about something. Try it sometime. Study things, son. You know, maybe people could think that you're halfway of an intellect. You can always read it off Google, make you sound like a brain scientist like Fazio did. Fazio read everything. Uh, he didn't sound too good, I'll tell you that. No, Siri Barbaroni, he didn't sound very good at all. We only wish you well, son. You know that. Best wishes to you and the missus. Well, the miss. Pardon me. But as bad as his fucking throat is, he's still coming on his show, live stream. I keep on calling it a show. There's nothing to show. And you can't even define it as a show because there's no content. But nevertheless, go ahead. You gotta go. You gotta go, sweetie. Oh, you just come to give daddy a kiss. Okay, what a loving dog. I'm telling you, man. What a sweetheart. What a sweetheart, you know. She come to see daddy. I would say get himself a dog, but he's not going to have the freedom to do that. And I wouldn't put a dog near that guy for shit. You know, you got herpes of the mouth or fungus of the cumungus or something. What are you smelling? Okay. Yeah, he's run it his mouth done run it over. I think that's been the problem all along. All along. All along. But I do gotta get some beauty sleep here. It was a pleasure listening to a little bit of your show, son. But unfortunately, it's the same crap all the time. At least I could get on my show and have a discussion, but I basically, it's more of a reminder when I come on here that you're so worried about my situation that your girlfriend and yourself created, but uh, you're kind of ignoring your situation as if this is all going to turn out and everything's going to be peachy and everybody's going to be happy. That he has a pet rat. Yeah, good one, Master. Yeah. Well, he's got a lot to face, but with the one thing he has to face is reality. Again, he got on his show and called me a pedophile again. So this is my point. If I haven't gotten it through your heads so far, maybe for the final time, I'll make this statement and try to get it through your heads. Self created misery for himself. He still thinks in his mind that you could go around and call somebody a sexual predator. No, you can't do it in America and you can't do it here. It has nothing to do whether you're Filipino or a foreigner, American, or whatever you are. It has absolutely nothing to do with that. And all these people like Mick Fisher and Biggie and all these goofballs that are, you know, trying to take the high road with him. Well, they know the damn situation. Come on, what are you smelling? Come on, over here. Trying to take the high road with all this. All these, holy rollers out there, I call them holy rollers, trying to take the high road with Barry. But they're not holy rollers. They're as evil and as disgusting as he is. The way they talk. Well, Mick Fisher, for example, he's been playing the field lately with all this shit. So I'll talk about him. And this is what I'll say. Mick is a hypocrite. On one hand, he's saying Barry deserves to get what he gets because he's done some bad things. Then on the other day, according to which side of the bed he gets up on, he's defending him. Which is it, Mick? It's one or the other. Now, a holy man, a holy roller as you are, Mick Fisher, he either did something wrong or he didn't. So which is it? You've talked to me yourself, and you said that, yeah, he deserves to get whatever, but then you started saying, yeah, but on the same note, I think, his time in detention is enough. Well, understand, Mick and Big E and anybody else out there, understand something and get it through your head. You like to point the accusing finger to me. I'm not keeping him in immigration for all that time. Let's get that all straight to everyone. I'm not keeping him there. Immigration is keeping him there. And the reason he's in there this long is not because I said, no, you got to keep him in there for 23 months. No, never said that. I don't have anything to do with that. The reason he's still in there is because he has a pending case that's going on. And that's their rules. And that's not my rules. Do I think anybody should spend nearly 2 years in detention waiting for a case and not be released on their own cognizance? No, I don't, unless the situation that he might be a flight risk. Flight does not always mean he's going to take a plane. He could go into hiding. That's part of it too. It's just like he eluded the immigration for almost 7 years. This is the way they're looking at it. So a lot of people don't understand what's actually going on. And for the newbies out there, and even for the regulars, you could talk all the shit about me you want and say that I caused the problem. I didn't cause the problem. It is not my endeavor to go around and spend money on a lawyer and to go put a case against somebody. But it's one thing, okay, that some people might agree with Barry. Say, well, all right, you called him some bad names and stuff, but you don't deserve to be. Well, I don't make the rules on that. Understand that immigration's got to him in there, okay, because they have to abide by the present protocol of the law, which means that as long as he has a case, they can't let him go. Now they just conveniently put him in the Mandawi Immigration Center because it was just a convenient situation. It was kind of an interim place where he's lucky he's not at the Kalamasan because he did have a court order from a judge. He actually did. That was no lie. I even showed it online one time when it was correct to show it. But because I really don't like to put paperwork all the time on here, and sensitive information that clearly says he shouldn't be sharing with somebody, but he does it all the time. So uh, understand something and get it through your heads. And that's to you, Mick, to Big E, to anybody out there, all the double talkers that talk on each side of their mouth. But they're not guilty. Big E's fucking guilty of a lot of fucking shit, running a fucking harem, and he's supposed to be a religious guy, unless he's from the Mormon Church or something, where you're allowed to have multiple partners or wives. Okay, that's a different story. It's a religious thing on that, but he's not. I thought it was shameful what he did on camera. I think it's shameful that a man who claims he's religious is fucking multiple women. I just don't think it's right. And yes, I have a right to my opinion, and I'm going to express it. And I have before. This is not the first time. It's not the second, and maybe not the last. I think it was a disgusting display, Eric. I really do think it was a disgusting display. You could find any reason and rhyme to get around there and say, oh, whatever, man, whatever. Well, I guess his motto is the flesh is willing. That's his motto, perhaps. If the flesh is willing, why not? I got the wallet, I got the money. And, that's like an extension of their dick. When a guy has a fat wallet, they think it's an extension of their dick. 'Cause that's exactly what it looks like. You know what I mean? I got a wallet and I can get any woman out here because they would love to be wined and dined and taken to a nice hotel. And you get the right Filipina, they're going to say, well, I can't refuse that. Well, fucking why not? He's willing to wine and dine me. I'm all for it, man. But that's a lot of Filipinos do that, unfortunately. But I never thought it was right. Well, the show's not about Big E, but I just want to mention that before I hit the sack. You know, these do-gooders, these so-called do-gooders that are making judgment on me. Judge yourself first before you judge me, because you're doing things in your life that are not exactly kosher. Every single one of them is. They're the ones that are the haters that produce and direct all the hate on YouTube, and they consistently do that all the time. So if you want to, throw the first stone, if you think you're innocent of any sin or crime, you're not going to be throwing that stone at all. And I'll leave it off as saying that. Barry, I'll give you some words. You got a lot of things to face right now. I mean, you really do. And I know the turmoil you're going through. You try being as cocky as you want, but like I said, I am not dropping this case under any situation. Under any situation, I'm going through with this no matter what happens in the interim. Okay? It doesn't matter what side things are going on with me. I'm still, and by the way, I have to correct you again and again and again because you're too dense to understand it. If I had gotten deported, okay, the case of yours still rocks on, baby. I already know that. You think I haven't asked my attorney that question? Of course I did. Don't be such a fool. You ain't going nowhere, except possibly in the interim. You say, why would they put me in prison? You said on your show, right? Why would they want to put me in prison? Because you're still not obeying the law. You're doing your same fucking shows time after time. They're getting sick of this. I'm getting sick of this. It's about time you get your phone taken away. And I am working on that. That's for real. And you will find out. I'm not throwing mud in your face. This is reality. There is paperwork that's almost done and it's ready to be sent out within another day or two to several agencies. And they're going to look into this because this is a legal document. It's not just a complaint, it's a legal document. And you are going to lose your phone. Then you could fucking rot in your little swill. And I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit about you, Barry, and I never did. You are an evil person. Don't try to turn the tables on me. And neither you, Mick, or you, Big E, or anybody, or Popeye, or whoever. You know the score. You know what's been going on for years with this guy. I don't have to repeat his history. He deserves to get whatever the fuck he's getting. Now, sorry, just because I speak my mind, and I told you, the only things I ever talk about here is what I've actually heard or seen on somebody's show. Now, if that's already been a presented fact that everybody else has seen, everything about his behavior, everything he's done, so why are you jumping on me? Well, because you need somebody to jump on, right? You really don't like Barry, but you find yourself in a quandary. You find yourself thinking, well, I don't know, man. I mean, Frank sounds a little bit too confident for himself, and we don't like that. We want him to grovel. Isn't that what it is, Big E, Mick Fisher, and so forth? You want Frank to grovel. Frank is never going to grovel, ever. I never did. Nobody's ever chased me off YouTube, ever, unless I got booted off because of something I said or something, or copyright or something. I've never jumped off YouTube and, well, got pushed off. That never happened. That never will. But keep it in mind, Barry, son, you got a long ride ahead of you, man. Get comfortable. Get comfortable. And you know what? You're in no health condition to be in that cell. I'll admit that myself. You aren't, but unfortunately for you, you are. And this ain't the first time with all the mold and everything going around there. It's going to get worse and worse. You don't take care of yourself. You never did. You never will. You don't want to spend the money unless it's somebody else's money. That's the way you operate. That's the way you operate. You claim you quit smoking, but you smoked since you were 8 years old. And no, folks, I don't smoke 3 packs a day, as the trolls would say. I'm lucky if I smoke a pack and I smoke a half a cigarette. 4 drags, it's out. That's it. That's not heavy smoking, just to get that straight. Secondly, I'm not vaping. And he thinks the solution to his lungs is to quit cigarettes. You might as well just go back to your Mighty Whites, some 3 foot Mighty Whites you smoke. Same fucking difference. Vape smoke is not helping your lungs. In fact, you don't need any smoke in your lungs at all. You already got the mold and spores from that disgusting place that's actually exacerbating the your lung condition, and sinuses and everything, and throat. So you're living in a tough situation. But as I said, don't expect no sorry from it. Sorry to me to be sorrowful for you or anybody else. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. You know this guy's history. I don't have to necessarily repeat it, except to remind you of something here, which I'm doing tonight. So I'm the guy again with the black hat. Always me. What are you doing, Sal? I'm the guy with the fucking black hat. Is that what it's supposed to be? And the reason for that is what? Because I actually speak my mind when I need to speak my mind. There's no crime against that. There's absolutely no crime. I think people should speak their mind. I think they should get it off their chest and just do it once and just get it over with. But unfortunately, that's not what happened with him. If you don't understand the circumstances, you never will, and I'm not going to try to convince you. I'm just mentioning that, you know, the moron, or the moron as he calls it, got himself into that own situation. End of story. There's no feeling sorry for this guy. There's no reason. Why? Because he doesn't stop. And I told you, this thing could have been a lot easier on him. And it wouldn't be in this direction if he would have just shut his mouth. But unfortunately, he didn't. And now he's facing all this crazy legal shit. And please, please, spare me, folks. Don't tell me that if you were in this position, you'd let it go. Well, okay, once or twice saying something like he did to me, but to do it on a daily basis repeatedly for how many years? Come on, man. Maybe you're a person that has a good family, good job, right? Somebody calls you a fucking child molester. You think that don't get around? Understand where I'm coming from. That's why he's going to court, because he has to learn a fucking lesson, which he probably will never learn. But when he sees himself in a real prison cell, he's going to be kicking himself in the ass every day and reminding himself what an idiot he was and how cocky he is, and realize that he himself put himself in that situation. Period. To be fair, you've been slandering him for years too. I just repeat what he says on his show. That's all I've ever done. And I have defended myself. Those are the two things I did. There's a big difference, you know. No, I have nothing good. You call it slander, I call it truth. I have nothing good to say about this man. I can't find one redeeming value about this guy at all. No matter how hard I search, I cannot find one redeeming value. He's low class, the way he acts, the way he talks, with his demeanor, his street talk, his street look, his lack of education, his big mouth that never shuts up, which has gotten him into trouble all his life. Please don't tell me to show any sympathy for this guy. Don't even go there. Because you know damn well, every one of you, that if it was you were in my shoes, not only would you maybe do what I'm doing, but you may decide to take another route. And you may decide to take this thing out of court, which I don't suggest you do in the Philippines. Fuck, man. Believe me, there's directions I could have took with this, but I'm more logical and I'm a thinking person other than he is. Sure, to kick his ass and all that shit, it would make me feel good. It'd make me feel absolutely fucking wonderful. But bones heal, wounds heal. The best way of teaching somebody a lesson is to have them in a fucking prison where they belong. Again, if he wasn't continuous with what he did to do, it might be a whole different scenario. That's all I'm trying to say on here. I do see a psychiatrist. No, just to get my medicine. But I'm all better now. You guys are funny. No, I think he needs to see a fucking psychiatrist. His behavior is would never be defined as normal in any form or way. That is not normal behavior. To dig yourself, do you think that's normal behavior? To dig yourself deeper and deeper in doo doo when you're ready going to trial? I mean, come on, come back with a backup statement for that. Go ahead, just do it. Come on, really. Come on, get a grip and get a fucking clue. Get a fucking clue. You know, yeah. I will, as you call it, obsessed, as you call it. I don't call it being obsessed with the guy. I call it being something different. It's called, sir, determination. Good night. I think this 20 minutes is really going to define Mr. Barry Lee Jordan's whole situation as what he's allowed to have in his detention center, and it goes on and on and on, and the complicity of getting his girlfriend involved. So, if you got 20 minutes of your time, this would be very valuable to listen to. So, I'm giving you 20 minutes, and this information is real, and it does apply to Mr. Barry Lee Jordan's situation. So, listen intently.
Yes, experts in Philippine law can indeed fight deportation cases. Here's a breakdown of how they do it. Key aspects. Legal expertise. Lawyers specializing in immigration law are crucial. They possess in-depth knowledge of the Philippine Immigration Act, related laws, and Bureau of Immigration (BI) procedures. They understand the grounds for deportation and can assess the validity of the case. Challenging the grounds for deportation. Lawyers can scrutinize the evidence presented by the BI. They can argue that the evidence is insufficient, inadmissible, or based on errors. They can challenge the legality of the deportation order itself, arguing that it violates due process or other legal rights. Seeking legal remedies. Lawyers can file petitions for injunctions or other legal remedies to halt deportation proceedings. They can represent clients in hearings before the BI and in court, presenting arguments and evidence to defend against deportation. They can explore options for legal relief, such as seeking visas or other forms of legal status. Determining whether someone faces charges for providing false information in a deportation report involves several legal considerations. Here's a breakdown based on available information. Key points. Legal framework. The Philippine Immigration Act and related laws provide the framework for deportation proceedings. These laws emphasize due process, meaning individuals have the right to be informed of the charges against them and to defend themselves. Providing false information that leads to wrongful legal actions can have legal consequences. False accusations and legal repercussions. If someone knowingly provides false information with the intent to harm an individual, they could potentially face legal repercussions. This could include libel or slander if the false information damages the expat's reputation. False accusations if the false information causes undue legal problems for the accused. Perjury if the false information is given under oath. It is important to understand that providing false information to government officials can be a serious offense. Bureau of Immigration Procedures. The Bureau of Immigration, BI, has procedures for initiating and conducting deportation proceedings. These procedures aim to ensure fairness and accuracy. The BI has processes in place to investigate claims, and therefore false claims can be found out. Importance of verified complaints. Official documentation shows that there are regulations regarding how complaints are filed. Verified complaints are talked about in the rules of deportation procedures. This shows that there is a level of accountability on the information that is presented. In summary, while anyone can report an expat, providing deliberately false information can expose the reporter to potential legal consequences. The Philippine legal system emphasizes due process, and false accusations can be subject to legal scrutiny. With harboring, aiding, and abetting illegal activity in the Philippines, requires looking at various legal contexts. Here's a general overview. General principles. Aiding and abetting. This generally refers to assisting or facilitating the commission of a crime. The specific penalties will depend on the underlying crime being aided. Philippine law, like many legal systems, holds individuals accountable not only for directly committing crimes, but also for their involvement in assisting others. Harboring. This involves providing shelter or concealment to someone, typically with the knowledge that they are involved in illegal activity or are evading law enforcement. The legal consequences of harboring can vary significantly depending on the specific circumstances and the laws involved. Specific legal contexts. Immigration law. Harboring an undocumented foreign national can lead to legal penalties. The Bureau of Immigration enforces laws against those who assist in concealing individuals who have violated immigration regulations. Criminal law. If the person being harbored or aided has committed a crime, the individual providing assistance can be charged as an accessory or accomplice. The revised Penal Code of the Philippines contains provisions regarding accomplices and accessories to crimes. Specific laws. Certain laws, such as Republic Act No. 9165, Comprehensive Dangerous Drugs Act of 2002, include specific provisions regarding those who harbor or protect individuals involved in drug-related offenses. As seen in the search results, that act has specific wording regarding people who shielding, harboring, screening, or facilitating the escape of any person that has violated that act. Key considerations. Knowledge. A crucial element is whether the individual knew that the person they were harboring or aiding was involved in illegal activity. Intent. The intent of the person providing assistance is also a factor in determining legal liability. The nature of the underlying crime. The severity of the legal charges will be heavily influenced by the severity of the crime that was aided or that the person being harbored committed. Important note, legal matters are complex, and this information should not be considered legal advice. It is essential to consult with a qualified legal professional for specific legal guidance. When considering potential prison sentences for cyber libel in the Philippines, it's essential to understand the legal nuances. Cyber libel penalties. Cyber libel in the Philippines carries a more severe penalty than traditional libel. The penalty can range from 4 years, 2 months, and 1 day to 8 years. It is important to understand that the courts also have the ability to impose fines. Multiple counts. If an individual is charged with multiple counts of cyber libel, the potential prison sentence can accumulate. Therefore, if someone were to be charged with 5 counts, then the potential maximum sentence could be multiplied by 5. Factors affecting sentencing. The actual sentence imposed by the court can vary depending on several factors, including the severity of the libelous statements, the extent of the damage caused to the victim, the individual's prior criminal record, other mitigating or aggravating circumstances. Legal advice. It is crucial to seek legal advice from a qualified attorney in the Philippines for accurate and up-to-date information on cyber libel laws and potential penalties. In summary, calculating a precise number of years is difficult, as it depends on the specifics of the case. However, it is clear that cyber libel is a serious offense in the Philippines, and multiple counts can result in a substantial prison sentence. Based on the information available, the use of cell phones by detainees in the Bureau of Immigration, BI detention facilities in the Philippines, is heavily restricted and regulated. Here's a summary of the situation, restrictions, and regulations. The general rule is that detainees are not freely allowed to use cell phones or other gadgets. The use of these devices requires prior approval from the BI commissioner. This policy is in place to maintain security and prevent illegal activities within the detention facilities. Enforcement and issues. There have been instances where detainees have been able to access and use cell phones without authorization, leading to concerns about security and potential corruption. The BI has taken action to address these issues, including conducting raids to confiscate contraband and revamping personnel at detention facilities. It is clear that the Bureau of Immigration has taken steps to limit the use of cell phones within their facilities. Commissioner approval. The key factor is that cell phone use is only allowed with the express approval of the BI commissioner. In essence, while there might be very limited and strictly regulated exceptions, detainees in BI facilities are generally not allowed to freely carry and use cell phones. Expert in the Philippines has broken immigration laws and faces criminal cyber libel charges. They face a complex legal situation involving both immigration and criminal law. Here's a breakdown of the potential consequences. Immigration law consequences. Deportation. Violation of immigration laws is a primary ground for deportation. Even if criminal charges are pending, the Bureau of Immigration, BI, can initiate deportation proceedings. The BI may prioritize deportation, especially if the individual is deemed a risk to public safety. The existence of criminal charges can strengthen the BI's case for deportation. Detention. The BI has the authority to detain individuals who have violated immigration laws. Detention can occur while deportation proceedings are underway. People will face criminal charges in Philippine courts. The outcome of the criminal case will depend on the evidence presented and the court's decision. A conviction for cyber libel can result in imprisonment and fines. Concurrent proceedings. Immigration and criminal proceedings can occur concurrently. The BI may choose to wait for the outcome of the criminal case before finalizing deportation. However, they do not have to wait and can deport someone even with pending court cases. Impact on deportation. A criminal conviction can significantly strengthen the BI's case for deportation. Even if acquitted, the BI may still pursue deportation based on other immigration violations. Key considerations. Due process. The individual has the right to due process in both immigration and criminal proceedings. This includes the right to legal representation. Legal representation. It is crucial for the individual to seek legal representation from attorneys specializing in both immigration and criminal law. This will ensure that their rights are protected and that they receive the best possible defense. Coordination. The The Bureau of Immigration works closely with the courts and other law enforcement agencies. This means that information regarding the criminal case will be available to them. In essence, the individual faces a dual legal battle, with the potential for both deportation and criminal penalties. The outcome will depend on the specific circumstances of the case and the decisions of. Based on general security protocols for detention facilities and information regarding prohibited items, it is extremely unlikely that tools like baseball bats would be allowed in a Philippine immigration detention center. Here's why. Security risk. Baseball bats are considered blunt instruments that can be used as weapons, posing a significant security risk to both detainees and staff. Detention facilities prioritize maintaining order and preventing violence, and allowing such items would directly contradict this goal. Prohibited items. General security guidelines, such as those related to airline baggage restrictions, classify baseball bats as prohibited blunt instruments. This reflects a broad understanding of their potential for harm. It is reasonable to assume that detention facilities would have even stricter rules regarding such items. Detention facility regulations. Detention facilities operate under strict regulations to ensure safety and security. These regulations typically include lists of prohibited items, which would almost certainly include weapons or potential weapons. Therefore, it is safe to conclude that tools like baseball bats are not allowed in Philippine immigration detention centers. The allowance of items like Xbox consoles and other toys in immigration detention centers is generally very restricted due to security concerns. Here's what we can infer. Security protocols. Detention facilities prioritize security. Electronic devices and certain toys can pose security risks. There's a need to prevent contraband, potential weapons, and communication with the outside world that isn't monitored. Regulations and restrictions. Detention centers operate under strict regulations. These regulations typically limit personal belongings to ensure the safety of everyone within the facility. Items that could be used to facilitate escape or cause harm are almost certainly prohibited. Variability. The specific rules can vary depending on the facility and the circumstances. However, it's highly unlikely that items like Xboxes would be generally allowed. It is more likely that if any entertainment items were allowed, it would be heavily regulated and monitored. General detention center conditions. Detention centers are not designed for recreational activities. Their primary purpose is to hold individuals pending legal proceedings. Therefore, it's highly improbable that detainees in Philippine immigration detention centers, regardless of nationality, would be allowed to bring in items like Xbox consoles and other similar toys.
Now, the reason this is important that I bring this up is that Barry Lee Jordan, who is a detainee at the Mandawi Warden's Immigration Detention Center, has been in there the past 23 months, has full use of an Xbox and screen monitors, cell phones, laptop, and a lot of other luxuries. Now, according to the rules on immigration, he shouldn't have these items. He even possesses a small baseball bat. So all the above information is very interesting because Mr. Jordan has defied anything having to do with the Bureau of Immigration, despite getting communications from them saying that you also can't make death threats to people from your cell. Nevertheless, use your cell phone for such. Nevertheless, have an Xbox for entertainment, as detention was not made to be an amusement park.
Understanding conjugal visit policies in the Philippines requires distinguishing between different types of detention facilities. Here's a breakdown. Bureau of Corrections, BUCOR, and Bureau of Jail Management and Penology, BJMP. These agencies handle individuals convicted of crimes, BUCOR, and those awaiting trial, BJMP. Within these facilities, conjugal visits are generally allowed, with specific guidelines and regulations. There are memorandum and circulars that set the guidelines for conjugal visits within those facilities. Bureau of Immigration, BI detention centers. BI detention centers hold individuals for immigration-related violations, not necessarily criminal convictions. The policies regarding conjugal visits in BI detention centers are less clearly defined than in BUCOR or BJMP facilities. It is generally understood that immigration detention centers have stricter rules regarding visits due to the nature of their detainees and the emphasis on security and potential deportation. It is far less common to have conjugal visits within immigration detention centers. Key differences. The primary purpose of BI detention is to hold individuals pending immigration proceedings, whereas Bucor and BJMP facilities focus on punishment and rehabilitation. This difference in purpose leads to variations in visitation policies. Therefore, while conjugal visits are a recognized practice in Philippine correctional facilities, Bucor and BJMP, they are not a common or widely acknowledged practice in Bureau of Immigration Detention Centers. The use of social media and the ability to generate income while detained in a Philippine Immigration Detention Center is highly restricted, if not entirely prohibited. Here's a breakdown of the factors involved. Detention Center regulations. Immigration detention centers prioritize security and control. Allowing detainees unrestricted access to social media and income-generating activities would pose significant security risks. These facilities have strict regulations regarding communication with the outside world, and these regulations are intended to prevent things such as organized crime and other illegal activity. Access to technology. As mentioned previously, access to electronic devices, including smartphones and computers, is heavily restricted in these facilities. This limitation directly impedes the ability to use social media. Even if a detainee had access to a device, there would be regulations regarding internet access. Purpose of detention. Immigration detention is primarily for holding individuals pending immigration proceedings, not for providing opportunities for business or social activity. The focus is on processing cases and ensuring compliance with immigration laws.
Now, this is where I will interject on this. Mr. Barry Lee Jordan, actually, all of the above information that has been spoken does apply to him. He does use his YouTube channel to create income. He is commonly heard begging for donations, and he has Super Chat, he has PayPal, Gcash, and so on. So basically, Mr. Barry Lee Jordan is conducting monetary business from his detention facility, which has been quoted as saying that it is illegal to do so, amongst everything else that's been said in this rather informing video. And there's more.
Security concerns. Unmonitored social media use could facilitate illegal activities, communication with criminal networks, or the dissemination of information that could compromise security. Also, there is a concern that it could be used to facilitate escape. Therefore, it is highly unlikely that an immigration detainee in the Philippines would be allowed to use social media to generate income while incarcerated. The right to medical care is a fundamental human right, and this principle extends to individuals held in detention. However, the reality of access to adequate health care in detention facilities can be complex. Here's what can be gathered regarding medical health access in Philippine immigration detention centers. General principles, human rights. International human rights standards, such as the Nelson Mandela rules, emphasize that detainees should have access to health care equivalent to that available in the general community. This principle applies regardless of nationality. Philippine law. The Philippine government has obligations to uphold these human rights standards. Challenges and realities. Facility conditions. Reports indicate that detention facilities in the Philippines, including immigration detention centers, can face challenges in providing adequate medical care due to factors like overcrowding and limited resources. Information shows that there are concerns regarding the health conditions within Philippine jails. Access to care. While detainees have a right to medical care, the actual access to timely and quality health care can vary. Those detainees that need to be hospitalized can be sent to nearby hospitals with escort, but the medical expense must be paid by the detainees. This can cause a heavy burden. Specific needs. Detainees with specific medical needs, such as chronic illnesses or mental health conditions, may face additional challenges in accessing appropriate care. Key points. Detainees, including Chinese nationals, have the right to medical care in Philippine immigration detention centers. However, challenges exist in ensuring consistent and adequate access to health care in these facilities. It is important to remember that the Philippine government is obligated to uphold human rights standards. Therefore, while medical care is a right, the practical application of that right can be influenced by various factors. In the Philippines, the deportation of a complainant or witness in a criminal case does not automatically halt the proceedings. Here's a breakdown of relevant considerations. Prosecution's role. Criminal cases in the Philippines are primarily prosecuted by the government through the Public Prosecutor's Office. Therefore, the case's continuation does not solely rely on the individual complainant. The prosecution will typically proceed if there is sufficient evidence to support the charges, regardless of the complainant's presence. Witness testimony. If the deported individual is a crucial witness, the court may explore options to obtain their testimony, such as depositions. The court may allow the taking of the witness's deposition in another location. Video conferencing. Modern technology may enable remote testimony. In some cases, if the witness is willing to return to the Philippines, then that would be an option. Evidence. The strength of the case relies heavily on the available evidence. If there is sufficient evidence beyond the deported individual's testimony, the case can proceed. Court discretion. Ultimately, the court has the discretion to determine how to proceed in such situations. Factors considered include the importance of the deported individual's testimony, the availability of alternative evidence, and the interests of justice. In summary, while the deportation of a key individual can complicate a criminal case, it does not necessarily bring it to a complete halt. The Philippine legal system has mechanisms to address such situations. When a Filipino citizen harbors an American expat who is in violation of Philippine immigration laws, they could face legal consequences. The specific charges can vary depending on the circumstances, but generally, they revolve around harboring or concealing an undocumented alien. This is the core offense. It involves knowingly providing shelter, assistance, or concealment to a foreign national who is in the Philippines illegally. This could include someone who has overstayed their visa, entered the country without proper documentation, or is subject to a deportation order. Aiding and abetting. If the Filipino citizen actively assists the American expat in evading immigration authorities, they could be charged with aiding and abetting. This could involve providing false information, helping the expat obtain false documents, or assisting them in moving from place to place to avoid detection. Violation of immigration laws. The specific provisions of the Philippine Immigration Act of 1940, as amended, would be relevant. These laws outline the rules and regulations governing the entry, stay, and departure of foreign nationals. Possible other charges. Depending on the specifics of the situation, if other violations of the law are committed, then those charges could also be added. For example, if false documents were created, then falsification of documents could be added. Key considerations. Knowledge. A crucial element is whether the Filipino citizen knew that the American expat was in violation of immigration laws. Intent. The intent of the Filipino citizen is also considered. Bureau of Immigration. The Philippine Bureau of Immigration, BI, is the primary agency responsible for enforcing immigration laws. They have the authority to investigate and apprehend individuals who violate these laws. It is important to understand that harboring an undocumented alien is a serious offense, and those who engage in such activities can face significant penalties.
Now, the information provided on this video all pertains to Mr. Barry Lee Jordan. His time that he's been spending in the immigration lockup has been utilized with just about every one of these crimes that has been mentioned on here. Everything from weapons, everything from it's considered contraband and dangerous. The use, which was clearly stated, that he cannot have Xboxes, he cannot be using social media as a tool, especially when his crime has to do with cyber libel. As mentioned, there is charges that can be put on Mr. Jordan with 5 separate legal cases on him. He's under the jurisdiction right now of the Toledo Regional Trial Court for such. Being in a facility is not to be a recreational playground for a detainee. Mr. Barry Lee Jordan has violated every one of these rules, including getting his girlfriend involved in a conspiracy, and that's exactly what it is, a conspiracy to find fault with the very person who has put the case on him.
It's an act of revenge. It is clearly said in the BI rules and regulations, and as a law, even with the Department of Justice, all interrelated, of course, that if you are harboring, aiding, and abetting somebody who has been long-term overstay with the immigration, then there are laws that you have heard on here that actually pertain to this situation, which is exactly which is going out, because Mr. Jordan, as we all know, coerced his girlfriend, Charisma Saram, to do a case against me based on false information as an enactment of revenge. Everything that's been provided on this video pertains to Mr. Barry Lee Jordan as to this day. He's been non-cooperative with the immigration despite getting letters saying that you need to stop your social media and use your phone, the death threats that you've been putting against Mr. Battaglia. But Mr. Jordan did not listen to that, and he still proceeded to use his cell phone for said purpose. And moving on with this, he is using his detention center to earn money through his YouTube platform, which also is illegal on here. And it's unfortunate that is involving his girlfriend, Miss Charisma Saram. It could have really bad consequences for her involvement in this issue. It is sad for Miss Saram that she decided to cooperate in this matter under the circumstances that are going on with Mr. Jordan. Mr. Jordan remains at the Mandawi Warden's Immigration Detention Center to this day, and it's been approaching 23 months because Mr. Jordan is still awaiting the rest of his trial, which is going on at the Toledo RTC. Mr. Jordan chooses to violate all these regulations, and there were many that were listed on here that he has been violating. And so far he's managed to get away with a whole lot of these regulations that prohibit certain activities, certain toys, certain electronic entertainment devices to this day. The Bureau of Immigration needs to put a stop to this, and with the help of my personal attorney, we're going to make sure that this stops. This is not a playhouse. This is not a hotel. There's a reason why he's in a detention center, and there's a reason why Mr. Barry Lee Jordan has a case against him. Mr. Jordan has violated all these rules, every one of them. Mr. Jordan feels that he is above the law. His attitude has proven that, and the many reports that has been sent to Immigration and Department of Justice by myself, Mr. Frank Battaglia, has proven to the immigration that there are problems going on with his detention. And now this has been continuing for numerous years. Despite knowing all the regulations, Mr. Barry Lee Jordan has not stopped. And this is a daily routine where he's putting on live streams from his YouTube platform and completely disobeying the law, even after he has 5 criminal charges on him. In full realization that Mr. Jordan could get up to 4, 5, or more years on each charge, Mr. Barry Lee Jordan, still with his attitude and above the law attitude, continues to do so on his show. And he's also using his detention cell and his time in there to create income, which is also against the law. Despite many requests to the Board of Immigration and the Department of Justice, there has not been any major action taken against Mr. Jordan to this time. But hopefully that is going to change, and that Mr. Jordan will be relieved of his communication devices and his other toys. This information will be sent over, of course, to the Bureau of Immigration, Department of Justice to BI Intel for the said purpose of information sharing, and even if it means them reviewing their own rules and regulations that he is basically breaking. This might enlighten some immigration officers in the Intel Department and the Department of Justice and make some needed changes regarding Mr. Barry Lee Jordan's free realm in a detention center to do whatever he wants, to attack anybody he wants on social media, especially the very person that got him into a court trial. This has been a long engagement with Mr. Jordan to attack, defame, incite violence against Mr. Battaglia from his cell phone and computer in his detention center. The admittance of wanting to kill Mr. Battaglia and have others to kill him and put a bullet in his head should take the attention of the Department of Justice, and to incite others to do so, verbally and by telling people where he lives, and that it would be easy for somebody to offer 50,000 pesos to a Filipino to put a bullet in my head.
Get you some Asian Adventures with Jim. Man, you know what? I love being at the bottom of the YouTubers blogging in the Philippines, because when you're at the bottom, you can only rise to the top. So
Anyway, we've been doing a multitude of videos lately and for a while. I think I pretty much covered everything I could on here, but I'm going to make a video attempt to explain something with people. Why you can't trust anybody from YouTube, and this is for good reason. You can't trust people on here because they may come off as being a nice person, but then you can never trust them to talk behind your back. Now, I'm not on the attack of Mick Fisher, I want you to know that. Me and Gilda met him, and the reason we bring him up is he's been quite active on making really rude comments. And when we met him, we thought he was a nice guy. And he's met my girlfriend and numerous amount of her family members that were with us at the time when we were going to this lagoon area. Seeing we had a nice family, Gilda was nice, the whole bit. I didn't seem like a creep to him. I don't think I did. But it goes to show how people change. And I always said it, that he was on a fact-finding mission. He wasn't there because he really wanted to befriend me or, really care to understand me, where I was coming from. But it was basically a fact-finding mission. Mick, in some points, seems to have his act together. I think the profession, whatever he was into, and I don't think the guy is broke in any way, but it's not about the financial part. Mick seems to have certain elements in his life together, which is a great thing to have. And I guess the point I'm trying to make is that what you think a grown-ass adult like him, who has a lot of elements in his life seemingly put together, would really be on such of the attack of me. And that's actually what's been happening quite a bit. And we've been noticing mixed comments on here, left and right. And, unjustifiable things that he's saying. He understands about Barry's situation, but yet he supports Barry. I don't know, maybe he's a guy that goes for the underdog, and he seems to have that attitude to go for the underdog. But, what is the underdog in this situation? Because historically, I'm the one that's been attacked for 10 fucking years. And I'm not going to say it's because of my attitude or I'm cocky. I just do shows on here, and people either like it or they don't. And they always find a reason to attack. Now, Mick, for example, I thought Mick was an all right guy. Treated us to a breakfast, whatever we did, and hung out a little bit later on when we went to this lagoon. And and we had a pretty good day. And Mick seemed kind. He seemed nice. And we kind of left that meeting thinking the same. But when I spoke to him in the form of Facebook Messenger, things kind of took to a change. Now, Mick seemingly is a very religious guy and has his religious values, and that's fine. It's just not me, and that's fine. He feels that on one hand, he feels that, he knows that Mr. Jordan has broken the laws. He knows he did wrong. Okay. And he acknowledges that. But on the same note, on the other side of his mouth, he will say, well, he's the judge now. He's saying that I think that he served his time. No, he's serving his time in there, not because I ordered the Bureau of Immigration to serve his time there. It's because he has another case. He has a case on him, an actual case. So they're putting together and implementing these rules, not me. This is not an effort for me to keep Mr. Jordan in his jail cell. It's going by the regulations that I did not create and that I'm really not behind. Now, what's holding up everything is that the court, because he doesn't have a lawyer. And unfortunately for him, several lawyers of his quit on him because, well, of his nature. And I think that'll happen again. Any money he collected on a lawyer is going to go down the same drain. So therefore, the case is going to go on and on and on. That is not my doing. If he can't keep a lawyer to stay with him, that is not my doing. This will just drag on and drag on and drag on and drag on by not my means, but by the system or by his non-cooperation with attorneys, or by his continued use of his cell phone and doing the same crap over and over again. Now don't tell me, Mick, you're going to think that's righteous. I don't want to hear it. You can't be that screwed up of a guy. That's not the impression I got of you. I'm actually complimenting you, Mick. That's not the impression that I got of you. Or Gilda. Gilda thought you were okay at all that stuff. You were nice. And the partner you were with at the time seemed nice. But it's amazing how people will turn against you. I don't go around calling you a shitload of names, Mr. Fisher. I'm just basically saying that you took a real turn, and on Messenger, you just said, fuck everybody on YouTube. That means everybody. That you were all a bunch of fucking crazies. But maybe ask you a question, Mr. Fisher. What is crazy? On one hand, you're supporting the fact that people have to pay what's due. And on the other hand, in another breath, you're saying that I'm doing wrong to him. So the question is, which is it, Mick? And this is a good example of what we find on YouTube. You have people that agree that, yeah, this man definitely needs to be disciplined. He definitely needs to serve his time in a court of law, and whatever the judge says, that'll be the results. And that's just the way it is. Mick somehow sees it differently. Nick, I'm not out for making friends on YouTubers. That's never been my endeavor, and it never will. And I wasn't looking necessarily for friends. We met up because he was coming down here. He comes down here every now and again. So we made arrangements to meet, and that's exactly what we did. I did not know it was a information search trip, search finding trip on me, information seeking trip. I did not know that, but I surmised it after a while when we communicated on Messenger. And I basically told him on there. I said, you're either against Barry, for Barry, you feel he's done something wrong, or you don't feel he's done something wrong. So which is it? And I guess I'd have to catch him on a different day to get a different opinion. I don't know. And that kind of turned me off to Mick. I mean, it was a potential for friendship, absolutely. I don't rule out everybody. There's a potential for friendship, but Mick doesn't see eye to eye with me, and I don't see eye to eye with him. And I think a lot of his comments were unjustified on Barry's show and anybody's show. He's been very active lately. He's been very active. Mick, man, I got nothing against you, man, except, your comments that you've been making on there is unjustified. You met us. We're decent people. You met Gilda. You met her children. numerous ones were there that day because they all came down there to go to the lagoon. Okay, and it wasn't a mission where I was trying to get you to pay for her family's dinners or anything like that. Okay, let's get that straight. I want to let it be known that there are two sides to every story. There always is. There has to be. One person says this, one person says that. Sometimes they say it on one side of their mouth, then they tell somebody on the other side of their mouth, and you don't really know where they're coming from. I'm not going to be put in a position with Mick Fisher to make me look like I'm the bad guy in this situation. Mick knows I'm not a bad guy. He's met me. You know, I could be pretty laid back, and I think he's had to see some of that when he met me. I wasn't screaming all the time. I wasn't going into a tangent on anything. If anything, I was concentrating on my girlfriend, her family, while he talked to his girlfriend, and whatever activities were going on. Okay, I thank him after I met him, and thanks for the breakfast and all that stuff. I was courteous enough to say that. That's what upsets me, and that's why I don't want to get together with YouTubers. And, you know, I have to make my own decisions. When I first met Barry, I knew right away. After a couple of visits, and one, you know, well, actually, his visits were not invited visits. I want to make that perfectly clear. I did not invite him to come down. I did not invite him for a meal out or anything like that. He came down first with Hagante, and he came down with this girl that he was, you know, yeah, I won't go into that. I think I discussed that before. No need to go into that again. But this is what you get on YouTube a lot. It is really, you know, pretentious people. And, you know, we always thought Mick had his shit together. I think to a certain point he does have his shit together compared to other YouTubers on here. I only wish he would have fucking just cold-cocked fucking Ricky and Brevis and Barry when he had the opportunity to do so, you know. Could he do it? He sure fucking could. He's a big guy. He's a big guy. He could pound somebody in the ground like a fucking railroad spike if he really wanted to. But that's not the point. The point is, not everybody is righteous on here. And everybody's entitled to their opinion. It's according to what their opinion is. If there's facts behind their opinion. Okay. Mick is one of the guys, unfortunately, and why he would never become a friend of mine, is because of the fact that he speaks from both sides of his mouth. And I don't mean by a stroke or anything like that. He speaks on both sides of his mouth. We can't figure if he's pro or con us, but obviously that he is absolutely con me and Gilda. And that came to my attention through some of the message, and it came to my attention when I read all his really nasty comments on Barry's show. On 1 minute, he knows damn well that Barry's been doing wrong. He knows damn well, and he said it. But then there's the religious part of himself that said, well, let's go easy on him. Well, the question is, Mick, how easy would you go? Okay, let's say you have a business. I think you do, or did. Okay, and somebody, Mick, a fucking child molester. Okay, let's say you have a family, Mick, okay? Have a house, you have all that shit. And somebody steps in there and says that about you. Don't you think that's going to get out? You know, even if it's not true. How would you feel? But, you know, you look at things on a different side of the window. You're either looking in or you're looking out, you know. It isn't until these people like Mick Fisher and others, until they have that happening to them, that's the only time they're going to understand, oh, when the shoe's on the other foot, oh, that's different now. That's different because it's happening to them. Right, Mick? I know you're going to respond to this. I have no question about it. You want to call me or something? Tell me whatever the fuck you want to do. I'm telling the truth. You know, there was a potential for a possible friendship on there, but that was not your goal. And I don't really want to hang around foreigners in the first place. I can make certain exceptions, but I think in Mick's case, you know, and I learned, and it wasn't really taking long, but I'm very convinced of it now, up to this point, that with his very negative comments about me, he's not the nice person we thought he was, and that Gilda thought he was. We thought he was a cool guy. Nothing against Mick. Nice guy, treated us to breakfast, talked about this, talked about that, you know, and all was cool. But it wasn't got home, and all of a sudden, boom, his mind goes to a change when we start talking about Barry. And he goes off in one direction, goes off in another direction. He's not approve of what Barry does, and then he approves of what he does, and he should be getting that treatment. Look, let me tell you something, Mick, and understand something. You're not in that position. You are not in that position, so of course you're going to be not in a position where you're going to be really understanding what's going on until you wear the shoes of somebody else. And this goes to anybody who has not gone through this. I have a right in the world to take action that I feel needs to be taken action on something like this. I have every right in the world. And you know that. You know, that's why I made a rule. I'm just not dealing with any foreigners anymore. That's it. And you can't trust anybody on here because they will talk behind your back, even though you might think, oh, this guy's pretty cool. You know, or they, you know, behind the scenes though, when they're on Discord, things come out, and they're not your friend, and they were never really supporting you. I'm convinced that Mick came down on a research mission to find out what's really going on with me and what I'm all about, and that it's a little different than what I expected, although I was suspicious. So you can't trust anybody on it, and that's just a fact. That's just a fact. They will stab you in the back, is what they'll do. In fact, most of these YouTubers are against each other. This is what happened with Triple R and all those people. They were at each other's throat, Popeye and Aloe and all these people. In fact, Aloe has not been the friendliest with Popeye these days either. He's not exactly a big Popeye fan. He only tolerates Popeye, if you haven't figured that out yet. You know, people like Barry Jordan does belong where he is. He does belong. Because he's non-stop. Non-stop. Now, some people say, you know, and Mick would think too, that, you know, maybe you're being pretty cold with this guy. Well, I beg to differ. As I said in my broadcast, I said that if he did not start doing live streams every single day for how many years now since he's been incarcerated and he got the charges on him, if he did not come on there and he just did regular shows, I wouldn't have complained about his use of the phone. It's great to have use of the phone if you're incarcerated. We all would want that, even me. But there's a limit that, you know, you're just pushing the limit when you take your devices and you use it not for good, but for bad, and use it as an absolute weapon. And this is what Barry Jordan did. He uses it as a continual weapon against me. Now, Mick, if you were in my shoes in that situation, please don't tell me. Spare me this, okay? That you would put up with this kind of shit. If this guy was even talking about your family, this guy was saying that you were a child predator, come on, Mick, stop the bullshit. You'd pound his head like a railroad spike, okay? I don't want to hear anything different than that. But because it's me that it's happening to, oh, that's a different story. I got to be part of the boys club, and I got to follow the rhetoric on here. Right, Mick? I want to fit in. I don't really want to be part of this community, but I'm really intrigued by it, so I keep on coming on and I do comments, is what Mick thinks on this. Because he's always offering a comment. It's always bad. You know, it's becoming part of the boys club. He wants to fit in. He wants people to revere him. He wants people to see him as the good Christian guy that he is. Is he? Is he? That's your opinion. That's all I came on to say, because I think I've covered quite a bit since all this shit's been going on. And then I still have to ask myself a question or tell myself something. Dude, do what you feel is right to do. And that's exactly what I've been doing. Because I will say it again to Mick and anybody else, you're not in my shoes. If you were, you would think differently. In fact, you might do things that I will not do because of the ramifications, if you know what I'm talking about. I'm doing things the legal way, so give me credit that I'm not taking it any other way. Okay? Well, you can figure out whatever that means. I'm doing things the right way, and that's the way it should be done. Now, if he's not guilty, they'll exonerate him in court if he's not guilty. That's what the court system is for. But what he did with his girlfriend, that was wrong. Everybody knows it was an act of revenge. And as I said, I've read that thing over 10 times, so do my lawyers. And every information in that affidavit was total crap. It was total lies. I guess she learned a lot from him. Total bullshit. Nobody is attacking her. In fact, it's the opposite for those that think different. She is attacking me. As such, I have to fight back. That's just the way it is. I didn't create this. She created the report with the encouragement of her boyfriend to enact revenge because she listens to everything he says. Okay? She's devoted to him. Okay? And Barry doesn't like the fact that he's facing a grim future. She understands that he is too. And her reasons for being with him is her own, even though she knows she has no future. But that's her doing. That's not mine. It's her doing. But as far as I'm concerned, she committed a crime. I fully believe that she harbored, and we have 5 agents that will say, definitely, she was there, and it would be their belief that she was harboring and aiding and abetting him, and she knew damn well that he was an overstayer. And nobody buys a story that she didn't know. Because the only thing that he doesn't tell her, the only thing that Mr. Jordan doesn't tell his girlfriend is that he's receiving his Social Security benefits. And the reason he does that so he can benefit in another way by begging for people's money so he doesn't have to spend his money, so he can go out in years to come and buy that used Dodge Raptor that he wants to buy. And that's what it's all about. Or buy a van that he could sleep in. And that's after the court system in Alabama catches him. So that might be quite a ways down the line. Whether he'd be alive at this time, I really don't know. His health condition seems to be deteriorating. And how long this court shit's going to be going on. He may never get deported, because he might be actually serving time in jail. But people look at me like I'm like number one enemy when I'm really not. I'm simply a guy who's exercising his right. Me like this, you stop talking about me being a child predator or calling me a child predator, which is not cool. And it's not cool to anybody on here, and I do mean anybody. Hector says the lowest of the low is what one may call a two-faced individual. Yeah. Well, I'm not happy with Mick. But then again, he's not a personal friend of mine anyway, so I'm not really that disturbed by his about face and all that stuff. Because when I meet people, the rarity I'll meet any foreigner, I already know there's a story behind it. When Brevis came over, unexpectedly and unannounced, it didn't take much to figure out that this guy was a fucking psychopath, sociopath, or both. And you look into those Deadpool eyes, them black eyes, I mean, and after you hear him talk. Now, Brevis seems the one that's supporting Barry so much. But if you remember that recording I had there when Brevis came over, and all he was doing was talking shit about Barry, calling him crazy and all kinds of shit. And now he's like one of Barry's biggest supporters. So when I say all the fucking crazies coming to this country from America and other places, it's a valid statement. Because look at all the people we have on there now. Look at their mental status. Look what they talk about. How they project their hate. How they project blame on people. How they just like to listen to the chismis. And that's all what it's about. The environment's falling apart. The world's falling apart. The economy's falling apart. But they have so much time on their hands to create hate clubs and divide themselves and be a very divisive nation on their own, to mate in a sense with others of the same mindset and go on the attack of people. I don't regret anything I've done in regards to Mr. Jordan. It had to be done. And if you can't figure that out, then you're just pro Barry Jordan. You don't want to hear the details, and you just con against me. But if you examine everything that's happened, you know I'm in the rights. And as I said, I will continue to further this case and it will be left up to the judge. As to anything in between that's going on, I will deal with it. And I will deal with it tooth and nail and whatever I have to do. Because, again, what are humans and other species about? We are about our own survival. Right, Mick? Wouldn't that be true? It's about our own fucking survival. And we will do anything we can to make sure we survive and that we are happy and that we are content and that nobody tries to step on your toes unnecessarily, unless it's an accident. They just happen to walk by and step on your toe. I'm not the guy to take that kind of shit from anybody. I'm not a big guy of 7 foot fucking tall, okay? But it's what I have with knowledge. It's what I have with determination. And I don't advocate violence in any form or way. That's why you'd never see me in a war. You'd never see me with a uniform on, because I don't believe in unjustified violence, unjustified war, and having your government to give you poetic license to kill because they said go sig 'em. Well, you see, that's not me. I don't know. I could tell who my enemies are here on YouTube. But if I'm out in the field somewhere, these people aren't my enemies. They have families and children. I'm not going to kill them. And the only reason you do fire your shots is if you have a reason. So if you have a reason to fire shots at me, you fire your shots at me, folks. But on the battlefield, you have a reason to fire shots if somebody's firing back at you. I'm firing my shots back at Barry. That's exactly what I'm doing. To save my dignity, myself, my freedom, and my happiness in this country. The same as a soldier will do this on the field. He has a family to go back home to. And although he doesn't believe in this kind of scenario, he will fire that first shot when he sees that a weapon is raised from another individual that's going to kill him, harm him, and not be able to come back to his family. There you go. Staff there is supposed to monitor the uses of such devices. That's my point. But they didn't like the little AI thing I put together. It covered every aspect of Barry Lee Jordan, didn't it? I'll leave that on. And that covered every aspect of this man, is what it did. From his girlfriend's play in all this, to everything he's done, what he possesses. Barry says, that's all my belongings. Nobody going to take that. Well, no. You can be handed over to your girlfriend. Nobody's going to take it and throw it away. But he got himself at a point of getting himself in more trouble, which he does all the time. By constantly using his goddamn cell phone, now his privileges of using such just might be taken away. I think the lawyer's sending it out today to whatever office. There's 3 of them. And this is actually an official document, actually. This is an official document. And this is going to supposedly address this problem. Now, am I doing something bad to Barry? No, I'm not. And Mick? No, I'm not. Barry did that to himself. So get it straight, Mick. You seem to be an intelligent guy. Not just Mick, it's anybody. You seem to be an intelligent guy, from what I've seen. Certainly more intelligent than a lot of the goobers I found on here. Somebody trying to do that to you? What would you do, Mick? Honestly, what would you do? What would my audience do? When he's using that cell phone as a fucking weapon to continue his reign of stupidity on the internet. What do you expect from me? What do you really expect from me? Hamish said it would explain a lot. Oh, you believe your Roberto theory. Makes sense, yeah. Yeah, I believe that's what's happening. If someone told me, I tend to believe it. He wrote me, and it was the information he gave me that was, it could have been quite real. But like I said, I take everything with 1% doubt. So what might seem like very intriguing information to me, I'll always have that 1% doubt. And that's with everything in life. And you learn not to trust people when people have gave you some bad dealings, whether it's financial, moral, emotional, or whatever it might be. you learn from your experiences, and you learn not to trust people that easily. Life actually is a learning experience. I wonder how he found out about the dementia angle. I don't know. It may not even be true. It may not even be true, but I think it's plausible. I think it is this time. No, he's probably not dead. I just think if he does have dementia, well, that'll explain why he can't, go online and give a intelligible oration or something on there. I just can't see how it would even work. How he must be running in a family line or something. If that's the case, and I don't know 100%. I mean, it seems plausible to me, but then again, I've been wrong before and I've been right before. But that's the information I got, and that's the only information I'm going on. It's quite possible. I really thought he was dead. I really thought he was dead. For a lot of reasons, having a gastric bypass has problems, and he has always had a weight problem going on, and it has to do, again, I say this all the time, is diet, diet, diet. Everything has to do with the diet. You are what you eat, and sometimes genetics also is your partner in this too. That plays a part in how healthy you are, how long you will live, and so forth. So, makes sense? Yeah. Well, things have been happening to the right people, if you know what I mean. You got to understand, it's not to have a cold heart. If these about me, so what? You have a choice. And other bloggers have talked about this too. You have a definite choice. You could ignore what people say, and yeah, that's quite feasible and quite possible. But see, the problem with that is that when somebody does something continually and they don't let up, that really becomes a problem. And especially when you fire those warning shots. Now, it's not like, in all fairness now, it's not like I did not warn Mr. Jordan. It's not like I didn't say that, you need to stop this crap, put down the phone, if you expect to deal with me. Now, I was actually willing, and the only negotiating point I ever even considered was that, number one, no, I wouldn't drop the case, dismiss it, but I would be willing, at one point I was, willing to not put him under a financial burden of paying the lawyer's fees and everything else. Well, other than the court fines, I can't control that. But I was willing to cut him some slack on that. If he woke up and realized that he most certainly was involving his girlfriend and what she did was wrong. The idea was go to my lawyer's office, sign an affidavit that you are, for whatever reason, reneging whatever on the complaint. And I would have some room to bargain, but only with these avenues that have to do with lawyers or attorneys' fees and stuff like that. And that's a big thing when you think about it, because, if he's deemed to pay back all that shit, if he's in a prison situation, he'll never get out until he pays that money. So I think that's quite a bit of leniency on my part, as far as I'm concerned. Popeye said you don't need a Filipina because he thinks you have ED. Yeah, if anybody is ED, it's got to be this guy. In other words, he doesn't have a Filipina because he has ED. Yeah, projecting. It's projecting. There you go. Warthog says, I don't think it's ever going to stop. Well, the hatefulness on YouTube? No, that's never going to stop. Whether it's in the Philippines genre or it's not. That's just social media. It doesn't have to be YouTube. It happens on Facebook, Twitter, and all these other platforms that are out there. You're never going to stop that. That's never going to happen. This is our new society. Like I use Mick as an example here. It's not like, I'm attacking Mick. I'm telling Mick and others how I feel about why I don't want to bother with foreigners that come here to live, because I don't trust them. And I've been on like 10 years on YouTube, and I've heard it, I've seen it all, and they're all, basically against each other. If there isn't jealousy because one channel is making more money than the other or gets more viewers, there's always something. Someone may not like your voice, they may not like your topic matter, but you have the choice of not tuning in to my channel or somebody else's channel. I have that choice too, not to listen to Barry. He has that choice not to listen to me. And sometimes that's a great idea. But it's not like, as I said, I used the terminology, I fired warning shots to him. Give me credit for that because I did. But Barry chose not to stop, and you heard his statement, said, I'm never going to stop, I'm never going to stop harassing you. Well, what is he doing to himself? Now, with all his cockiness, he's going to say, oh, yeah, same shit. You're not going to get through to Barry's head. I don't care. Not even if you offered him tons of money. Are you going to get through his head to make him learn something? The best teacher in the world who deals with special education children would not even get through his head. Once you understand that, you'll know that there's no negotiating with Mr. Jordan because of his demonstrated behavior here on social media. That's what it comes down to. I can't negotiate with him. There's nothing to negotiate. He did wrong and he has to pay for his wrong. He did wrong by involving his girlfriend. And unfortunately, there might be repercussions from that. He don't like it, that's too bad. She don't like it, that's too bad. She should not have got involved. And he's the very one that said, I don't get my girlfriend involved, won't get my family involved. But he got her involved. So he reneged on that. He reneged on that. Mick and others, he reneged on that. You're right, he shouldn't have got his girlfriend involved. But Barry was so desperate and so full of hate and vengeance that he had to get her involved because he wanted to enact revenge on me because of what he did, not of what I did. He got himself in that situation. I didn't. I did not break the law with him. Okay? The fact is, at TGIF, I could have let loose like a mofo. I had just gotten back from the COVID era from Hawaii, and I was not able to come back to the Philippines that I considered my home to see my girlfriend by no choice of my own. Okay? And when they opened up the pearly gates with the COVID situation to enable me to travel, that's the first thing I did. The first thing I did. Now, I do respect the laws out here. And I don't have a criminal past. Do I have a civil case that's over with and done with? Yes. I don't have any criminal cases against me in New York, Washington, and Hawaii, and in the Philippines, other than dealing with a bunch of nonsense through a bunch of hateful, disgruntled people who, through word of mouth and hearsay, had made me what they think is the top enemy, #1 on YouTube, which I'm not. All I've ever done on here is speak the truth. And sometimes the truth hurts. Yes, I have a New York personality. We are outspoken. We say what's on our mind. I'm not going to change. I didn't change when I went to Seattle with their very liberal attitudes. You want to talk about liberals, ultra liberals? I did not join in with the ultra liberals. And I went to Hawaii and I didn't give in to all the bullshit crap that was going on with the sovereignty. That would never happen. I had to listen to their gripes. I had to look at their eyes, looking at us mainlanders with hate. Aloha used to be alive and well in the great 50th state. In contemporary times, it is not. If they run a business, they're going to tell you mahalo, aloha, all to attract money to buy the tourist items they sell in their store. But once they're out of the store, it's like, fuck you, Howley. I know, and nobody's going to tell me different. I've lived there for 15 fucking years. I've been in good neighborhoods. I've explored. I've been in bad neighborhoods. I've been in isolated areas of Hawaii. I've been in mountain areas. I've been in farm fields. I've been near rivers. I've been in small communities. I've experienced local culture firsthand, not by binoculars. I lived there and I experienced and I can make an opinion. Okay, let's see. Frank, they stopped calling you frail because it's hard to call you that when you're the Muhammad, all of this genre. Okay, anyway, I thought I'd come on, and I think there has to be a limit. I've been making a lot of videos because, like I said, I'm not afraid to respond to somebody if it's the truth. I've been called every fucking name in the book. Until this day, there's been nobody that's been able to prove different or say that I'm a bad person. They know I live a decent life. I got a fantastic girlfriend. They all know that, but they're jealous of it. Of course they are. Most of these people are not stable in relationships on here. They don't have a woman. They can't get a woman. Well, hasn't had a woman in 45 fucking years? Of course they're going to attack me. A lot of people attack other shows because they're doing so well. They got over 100,000 subscribers and making money up the Yan Ziggy. You know? There's a form of jealousy that goes on social media. That's nothing new. People learn to hate each other when they don't really even know each other. Unless you sat down and broke bread. Ricky met me and Gilda. Ricky didn't think we were bad people, but he still turned on me. And this is the point I'm making. Mick met me and Gilda. I don't think he thought we were bad people, but he turned on me. This is what you expect on here. If you're expecting something different, then you're wrong. Okay? Then you're wrong. You're fooling yourself. I will continue to do my case with Mr. Jordan. I'm not going to deviate from that whatsoever. Oh, you got some passion fruit? I don't want to drip it on here. Let me sit up. I could use this short drink that because I don't want to get ants. We got enough of them. Ants in the pants. Let me ask you an honest question. Sit down, my dear, my love. I thought Mick was kind of a nice person when you met him, didn't you?
When we meet that person, it's nice, that person, but I don't know in his side because they get their own opinion. Then after that one, they just twisting.
Twisting opinions and stuff, yeah. In other words, by ways of all the bad comments he's been making about me
Just
and all that.
twisting.
You think you meet somebody and you think they got their shit together, by perhaps their profession or they seem to exhibit a certain level of intelligence. You say, oh, great, cool. Somebody I can have an intelligent conversation with. It's really hard to find people on YouTube you can do that with. But it really comes to a point, you have to make your own analysis of people. And it's your analysis, it's only yours. You can't have somebody influence you, which is obviously what goes on YouTube. Everybody influences each other. This guy's a bad guy. Now, I put a short video on about that other guy, Jim. And I wanted to use that as a prime example. That, unfortunately, some of these expats that are so hateful on here, they've had some bad experiences in the Philippines. It didn't work out for them. They couldn't cut it. The Philippines chewed them up and spit them out. Or maybe some Filipinos did it to them. So now, people like this Jim guy that's on my short basically make shows totally knocking the Philippines, knocking Filipino people, knocking Filipinos, although he's married to one. And on one hand, he's very drawn to the Philippines. It's like it's in his system. But because of shit that happened to him, he feels that he has to attack the Philippines. It's like he doesn't know which side of the fence he's on, and that could be really confusing, chasing your own tail. In this case, that's why I put that video on, because I heard that last short that he did. And Asian Adventures is the name of his channel, Jim. And all he does is talk horrible about the Philippines. People wrote him, even I wrote him, said, if you don't like the Philippines, fucking leave. Stay where you are in the United States. We have enough idiots and troublemakers and hateful and criminal people right out here that have come to this country. Go after the people that should be going after, is what I say. There are bigger fish to fry out here. You should get out the frying pan, get the appropriate oil, and start frying up the people that need to be fried up. I run an innocent show compared to most people on here. Now, the fact that I'm outspoken, nothing wrong with that at all. In my background, that's how we spoke. We spoke from our heart, from our soul. We spoke from our mind. We didn't want to waste time and hide how we felt about something, because it's healthier to get something out of your system rather than to hold it in. Otherwise, you get ulcers. That's just me. That's who I am. I don't expect everybody to be like me. You might benefit in some ways, but nevertheless, I can't please everyone on here. And I do not even believe I could please everybody on here. Just like there's certain channels I wouldn't listen to, because I think they're just as morally corrupt as most people are on here. But just to kind of finish this off, Mr. Jordan deserves whatever he's getting. There is no doubt about it. He's consistent. He's persistent. He will not stop. He made it known that he's above the law. He's attacked the immigration. He attacked the embassy. Attacking everybody that doesn't agree with his sick philosophy of life. Sure, it's a terrible thing that he went through some horrible things as a child with his father. I didn't do that to him. His father did. So don't take your bitterness out on me as an adult. As an adult, you should act like an adult. Think like an adult. You're going to put a show on social media. Act like an adult. Stop attacking people constantly, because you know what's going to happen is you're going to get attacked back. And you may not like it. But maybe people like myself, who you would think is attacking people, is actually trying to put some common sense in somebody's head and saying that what you do in your life or on YouTube will reflect what happens to you next, or could reflect the rest of your life. If you keep on with that demeanor, it's not going to help you to get through your life in a satisfactory way. That's all I'm really saying. Bruce says, I'll just read a few more comments. And Bruce Moreau says, I watched a couple of minutes of Popeye's live stream. The guy is so into you, Frank. You think so? You're living in his head, rent-free. That's for sure. There's no doubt about that. And this is what I mean. A lot of these people that seem to be, a lot of hateful people on here, they're not living the life that they wanted to live. They can't come back to this country, or the country absolutely ate them up, and they were not in a position to want to come back because they made enemies, or, the country just ate them up, and they didn't have any luck with Filipinos. So from their armchairs far away, not even in this country, a lot of them, what do? They get hateful. They try to find reason to attack somebody. And as a result of it, they don't get any good results. They get a lot of negative results. And they become a lot more bitter. They become a bitter pie. And they get into trouble. Then they wind up getting in trouble with the law. Now, like I said, what Mr. Jordan did, he did on his own accord. Nobody put a gun to his head and said, run away for 7 years from immigration. He would have got caught anyway. Nobody told him to come on his YouTube channel and use his phone as a weapon of sorts. And how somebody has the stupidity of a rusted nail to go on his phone or laptop or all the office equipment he has in his jail cell, and to get on there after having 5 separate criminal charges on him, something called cyber libel that we all know very well about. And to continue to do so is exhibiting such stupidity that you can't even measure it. An IQ level probably couldn't even be measured on a person like him. He wants his freedom. I get it, man. How is he getting his freedom? By what he's doing? And he thinks I'm going to be nice to him? Getting his girlfriend involved, to get involved in my life and where I'm living and my situation with my special somebody and my house and so forth and new family? You know I'm going to attack like a fucking leopard. There's no doubt about that. I will use every legal avenue I possibly can to remedy that situation as best as I can. It will never stop there. He got her involved. Now she's involved. I didn't get her involved. And all that bullshit. And all I'm hearing is all the things and how you attacked his girlfriend. I'm hearing. I'm like, what? She's hardly ever a topic matter of mine. It was Barry. He involved her. I never called her a whore or a prostitute. Let's get this straight. You piece of shit bummer. I never called her that. Never. Never threatened her life. Ever. Ever. Never even met the woman, nor do I want to. You were the topic matter, not her, but you involved her. So you got her to write up this bullshit report, is what you did. So you got her involved. Congratulations, you idiot. Your moronic reputation precedes you. You are so fucking stupid. You fucked yourself over, and you're going to probably fuck your girlfriend over. Because it don't end there. No matter what the results are from the Department of Immigration. No matter what the results are. That shit will continue on. Your case, by the way, to educate you again, in a deportation case, if something like that ever happened with me, the case still goes on, dude. You keep on telling people the case is over, they're going to send you home, but that's not the way it works. You better face some measure of reality, dude. Bruce. Okay, no, I watched some of that Asian Adventures channel. I agree, he's a bit of a junkhead, but he does give an unvarnished side that all the Gio Enrique fan club members need to, yeah, he does speak some truth about some of the realities of living in the Philippines and what to expect. You're absolutely correct on that. As well as I will speak of certain things. But in his situation, things just wasn't working out well for him in the Philippines. With a woman, this, that, property, all this other shit. So he figures to come on here and just attack the whole concept of the Philippines and Filipino people. And I wrote comments and I said, look, if you don't like it, man, just stay in the United States. Do us all a favor. We've got enough creeps out here that we're dealing with. But he feels, what's the word? There's a lot of words, actually. Jilted. He feels he was wounded by the Philippines and different factors when he lived out here. And that's what happens when you're very bitter. You put a show on, and because the Philippines spits you out like a bad piece of fucking meat, he decides to put a show on just to attack everything about the Philippines because it didn't work out for him. This is just one example of thousands. Yeah, he's very bitter. And bitterness is what gets people in that state of mind. Because he's like really attracted to the Philippines in so many ways. It's in his blood. It does get in your blood. It's in his blood, but he's finding reasons to bitch about it and finding reasons to complain about it. Look, I know what it's like out here in the Philippines. I've seen the good and the bad. And I'll tell you what it's all about. I'm not afraid to say it, if it's the truth. Yeah, there are certain practices or cultural things and stuff out here that I think are pretty wackadoodle, but it is their culture. Just like our culture from Western society is our culture. You have to have a little respect for it. There's a lot of things I don't agree with. There's a lot of things, yes, a lot of, just call it white syntax or whatever, There's a lot of things that go on out here. They all figured out we're all rich. They're all wealthy people. That's not the case. People make a lot of assumptions about everything on here. And luckily, my down to 2%, so it's going to force me to get off here. Listen, man, I got to give this a little rest for a while. If you do me a favor, if you want to find out about anything going on with the case, you're just going to have to talk to Barry. But of course, don't expect the truth or anything like that. I do have to give this a rest. I think it's really important that I do, so I can concentrate on my business at hand. Whatever happens, happens, and it's called faith. It's called karma, whatever you want to call it. You have to do what you need to do. They have to do what they need to do. And, negotiations are not in the picture, not at this point. I offered something that would have helped them a little bit, but apparently it was not going to be good enough. I was not going to dismiss the case. I told you. That was never going to happen. And I still feel that way. And yes, I am willing to take all chances and still continue the case. I don't give a shit about her fucking complaint because we are going to address it, and we have started. That's it. You don't need to know anything more than that. Let it be handled by my attorneys. Let's see where this thing goes. Barry got her in trouble, so don't look at me. Don't even dare point a finger to me about this. What she did was wrong. It was a lie, and I'm not saying that to defend myself. I'm saying the truth. Everything she put in on that report was entire bullshit. That's why I don't believe in organized religion. The hypocrisy that goes around with that, it is deafening. It absolutely is deafening. It's absolutely deafening. Yeah, they go to church and all that, but they think the Hail Marys is going to solve all the shit that they do, but it doesn't. And there's a price to pay for everything, man, in life. There is a price to pay. When you do wrong, and you really do wrong, you need to right that wrong. And that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm not out to obsess on Mr. Jordan. I'm not out to obsess on him. I'm out for justice, like the name of the movie. Out for justice. That's all I want. I'm not a mean person. I'm not like that in my life outside of YouTube. It's just that Mr. Jordan went way too far. And I don't need to explain anything more than that. Now he has to deal with it, and I will deal with anything that I have to possibly deal with. That's just as going to work. That's the end of the story. Take care, guys. It is approximately March 18th, 2025. And what you're going to be listening to is something that might be shocking to some people, but it's not shocking when it comes to inmate Barry Lee Jordan at the Mandawi Detention Center. Mr. Jordan has absolutely insulted the Filipino people and the government. And I'm going to play some excerpts of what he just put on his show today. It was highly unnecessary to do so against the Philippine people and what he had to say about him, because he's not happy with the fact that he broke laws that he could be facing prison time. So let you be the judge.
And I'll cooperate with them, but until then, they're not getting any cooperation out of me for nothing. They don't want to do their jobs. But if they come here harassing me because of him, oh, dude, I'm going to raise hell, bro. And I'm going to go live when I do it. You guys are going to hear everything. I ain't playing fuck around. You guys going to know, you're going to hear, you're going to see exactly how the fuck I talk to these motherfuckers. I'm an American motherfucker. I come from a first world country. You're from a lower race. Don't even fucking be talking. Don't even be fucking trying to play that bullshit on me. They're from a lower fucking race, bro. I'm an American. We're more educated. We're smarter.
Barry is actually talking about Filipinos, saying that they are of a lower race. This is a rant that's being put on a live show on Barry Lee Jordan's channel. Barry Lee Jordan is doing a live stream today. He's unhappy with his situation in incarceration. He is actually calling Filipinos a lower race, and he's basically harassing the Department of Immigration.
We got bigger fucking dicks and we got a hell of a lot more money than they do. So they ain't gonna be bullying me. Fuck them. Fuck them. They're not gonna bully me on account of this stupid motherfucker. The way I see it, bro, is we're Americans. We're above them. Way, way high up on the food chain. It's just like, it's like throwing a tiny fish into a fucking big tank of fucking sharks and piranhas. We're the sharks and the piranhas. Filipinos are little fish. What the fuck ever, bro?
And just so there's no question of any gargled sound on here, Miss Barry Lee Jordan is saying that Filipinos are low fish and they are lower people than Americans. Yeah, this is for real. This is Barry Lee Jordan, live from his detention center in Mandawi.
The only military I respect is my woman and her family. And Janie and my friends are married to a Filipino. I respect them, of course. So, anyway. I'm so sick of hearing Barry's going to prison. Barry's doing this. Barry's doing that. Frank, I'm not going to prison, bro. What the fuck am I going to go to prison for? Because that's what you want?
Barry's saying that he ain't going to prison. Barry has a 5-count societal crime against him in the regional court of Toledo. Barry's not happy about his situation there, and he's been very uncooperative with immigration and every other office. He possesses many things in his cell. He's been having a pretty frivolous lifestyle inside there. He's upset because there is going to be either an injunction or something, a manifestation being sent off to the immigration in regards to his frivolous possession of toys and other paraphernalia that's in his cell. And part of the problem is Mr. Jordan does not understand that the use of his cell phone is quite a privilege that's not normally allowed, but he's using this as a tool to continually to do live YouTube live streams and to attack me, which is Mr. Frank Battaglia, who put the case on him. This is all going on in his jail cell as we speak, and as you get this message. His attitude toward the government is really poor, attacking the government now as he normally does. He has attacked the U.S. Embassy, he's attacked Immigration, Department of Justice. He's very defiant, very defiant. And this is the behavior that's been going on with Mr. Jordan ever since he's actually been in his jail cell in detention in Mandawi. This has been an ongoing thing ever since he had the 5 charges put against him.
What? Dude, they're not going to send me to prison, you fucking moron. What part of that you don't understand?
What he doesn't understand, for those listeners to this, is that under the RA codes 10175 C4C, he has broken the Immigration Republican Act laws. He's being very defiant about it, and he's being in a state of denial about it, saying that they're not going to put me anywhere. I didn't commit any crimes. Mr. Jordan talks a lot about freedom of speech, but doesn't understand that there is a limitation to freedom of speech, and you can't call somebody a child predator when they're not. This is just all part of what Mr. Barry Lee Jordan does, and this is why he has a case against him, and why several lawyers do not want to represent him, because he's a very tough client to have to represent. who is entirely uncooperative. And this is what's going on in his jail cell. And he's voicing out his negative opinions about the people of the Philippines, that they're a lesser race, they're a lesser species. And this is his general attitude, and this is what's been going on for the past several years.
Hey, you don't understand. Are you that fucking dumb? I mean, I'm not above the law, Jake. No, I'm not above the law. No, nobody's above the law.
And he says all the time that he's not above the law, but he actually has been above the law. He's been above the law when for almost 7 years he did not pay his immigration fines and so forth and his visa. And Mr. Jordan feels that he has some kind of special rights over other people.
Oh, bro, no one. No one's above the law, brother. No, I'm not above the law. Nobody is. Not even Frank. Frank's not above the law, though most people think that he is, but he's not. You know? See, you need to see things from this point of view. You're getting deported.
In reference to the fact that Barry says I'm getting deported, Mr. Jordan had put, or as I say, has gotten together and conspired to do a false report on Mr. Frank Battaglia with his girlfriend, who is living in Karkar, who was aiding and abetting him and harboring him when the agents, 5 of them, came to her residence and arrested him. He's not very happy about that, and he denies that she had anything to do with this at all. But Mr. Jordan is in a position right now where he has spent a long time in his detention center, which is because he does have a case against him for 5 counts of cyber libel. He's not happy with his situation, and he's been lashing out at just about everybody. And Mr. Jordan has been using his cell phone as a tool and a weapon. He's weaponizing his cell phone against me because I've got cyber libel cases on him, and he knows that he's probably facing prison time. This is what exactly is going on right now. And he doesn't talk good about the Filipino people. If anybody is undesirable, Mr. Barry Lee Jordan is on the top of the list of being on the list of being undesirable. There's actually no question about it. He disrespects the Filipino people, and his record would show it if you had talked to anybody who has listened to his shows for the past 10 years. He has taken money from people. He's only dated women that had jobs. This is what you call an undesirable.
There you go. That's it.
There's no reason to attack the Filipino people because he's unhappy with his situation. The Philippine government is going by its protocol.
I know for a fact he's getting deported, Jay. The warden has authority over Filipinos, not American citizens. When they're in America,
Mr. Jordan is confused that his warden has jurisdiction over the Philippine government. I don't know where that comes from. It's a very bizarre way of thinking. Or any other office.
we have authority over them. We should have authority over them anyway because American boats are out there preventing China from taking over the Philippines. So the way I see it, the Filipinos should be on their knees kissing my fucking ass.
Oh my God.
Now, if he didn't understand that, I'll intervene here. He said that Filipinos, as far as he's concerned, should be down kissing his ass because he is an American. Well, I'm not actually going to record any more of this. I think I've heard enough, and I think whoever listens to this probably heard enough, and nobody wants to sit there listening for over a half an hour or so listening to this guy. But it's very clear who's an undesirable in this country, and it's very clear what needs to be done. He refuses to participate in any protocol of the law. He made that very clear. Some of the most horrible things that he has said about Filipino people, that they're a lesser race and species than Americans, and that was pretty harsh to say that, especially since he's been living in the Philippines for 10 years, albeit illegally, which shows disrespect for the Philippines right off the bat. This has been a learning experience for me, and if anyone who listens to this, Mr. Jordan, it does think he is above the law. There's no question about that. Because he's been breaking the law for 10 years. Now, this information is going to be sent out to the appropriate agencies. The compilation of videotapes and evidence I provided about my attorneys and the various offices will be used eventually in making the determination when court is over as to what should be a proper sentence for him. And with this kind of talk, and being as much of an undesirable alien as he is, and talking nothing but bad stuff about the Philippines, about the government, about the Filipino people, saying they all got small dicks, and that Americans are superior than them, that they could get down and kiss his American ass. It's horrible. It's horrible. No, he shouldn't be in this country, that's for sure. Should never be in this country. So after maybe he serves some prison time to make him understand about his attitude about the Philippines and that there are laws here that need to be abided by. And unfortunately, it's not any of us expats, tourists that are living in this country that make the laws, but there are many that break the laws. And this is one guy that's broken almost all the laws since he's been out here. There is no excuse for his attitude. There's no excuse for his actions. There is no excuse for Mr. Barry Lee Jordan, period. Wow. That's what I'm going to start off saying is, wow. Many of you that didn't hear Barry's video this afternoon, I thought it'd be unfortunate if you didn't hear it. So right now I'm uploading portions of his video, that his live stream, that some of you may not believe or will believe as to his attitude and as what we define as an undesirable in this country. And he's an absolute undesirable. I'm uploading it. I wanted to do that because that's a special video that I'm going to send to the right authorities. He has gone out of his way to disgrace and shame the Philippine people and the government by saying that they have little dicks, that Americans are a higher race, and it goes on and on. But you're going to have to listen to my video that I'm uploading, and once it's uploaded, my attorney will have a copy of it, and the authorities will have a copy of it too. If anybody's ever been an undesirable in this country, it would be Mr. Barry Lee Jordan. I could call him by his straight name. And I will tell you, the man completely lost his mind. On his video, he's also talking about, and this is a man who's facing possible prison time, and I think it's very possible, very probable. And he's talking about a recreational vehicle trailer that has beds in it and other accessories. The man hasn't even finished his trial yet and could face imminent prison time. And all this evidence will be used. If anybody is feeling sorry for this guy right now, then you got to be just as bad as he is. I don't care who you are, pro or con, with me. There is nobody that could deny, and if you haven't listened to it, I think it's still on his show, Spend the Time. If not, if he takes it off, I have recorded these excerpts on his show that was just done, approximately 3 o'clock or so, in the afternoon, Philippines time on, I don't even know what day it is, March 18th, or yeah. And you have to listen to this. And his mental stability is completely gone. It's done. It's over. A man in his position who cannot afford to speak like he did on this live stream, who's in a court trial and ran away from immigration for almost 7 years, who's not even maybe in the midpoint of his trial, and a judge has to make a determination about his future. Mr. Jordan has continued to use again his cell phone as a weapon against me. It's amazing. It's an amazing story. This should be a made-for-movie TV movie or something. It would make a great story. He's one of the most undesirable people in this country, and you all know why. And you know his history. This is a man that's sitting for almost 2 years in a detention center for immigration. And you would think the man who talks about wanting his freedom to go back to the United States is doing everything he could do in the opposite direction of achieving that goal. It's quite amazing. I'm uploading it. You'll see it in case he takes his off, because I have to send it. That's how I do some of my stuff. I'll record it so it stays on my phone, and I'll just do a share with my lawyer. That's what I'll do. It's an easy way to do it, not very complicated. And since I'm no tech freak, that's not very complicated to me to do. I couldn't believe what he was saying in this video. Well, I do believe what he was saying because I know how he is. This is a man that you would think wants self-punishment. I've never encountered anybody like this in my life. He thinks the Philippines government is going to be cooperative with him. He had about 3 lawyers that throw him to the roadside because he was so goddamn cocky and did not want to listen to them. So what was the purpose of having a lawyer? What is the purpose of him begging on his show for lawyer money when he's already proved that went through 3 lawyers so far that don't want to represent him? And he's begging for donations, which is also illegal while he's incarcerated. Now, you've all had heard the more of an IA thing that I put on earlier. I researched the information, and I let the AI do the talking for me. And it covered every aspect of Mr. Barry Lee Jordan, and even mentioning his relationship to his girlfriend and how there was a conspiracy to try to get me deported. First of all, I will say, number one here, before I go on, that was all a bullshit story enacted by Ricky to make money and for Barry to do the same on Mr. Ricky's coattails. My lawyer contacted BOI. They have not come up with any decision regarding her complaint. Period. As far as him trying to get me deported, I hope he doesn't hold his breath or anybody else. There's been no resolution made as of today, and that's the current information. Hell, I even wrote Aloe. I told him because I know he'd get it out. Aloe knows a very rarity to ever write him. He knows I'm telling the truth about something. Where do you think some of Drew's information came from? It came from me in the beginning. Yeah, he just spread it around. But hey, I don't have to take credit. If he wants to take credit for it, that's fine. Mainly the information got out. But some of you find this so unbelievable what you're listening to and the mental deterioration of this guy in a very precarious situation, in a very inopportune situation where his future is going to be in his own hands. And there he goes, coming on his show every single day, doing things that most normal people would never do in light of his situation going on right now legally. He's a man that's full of hate for me. But the hate is derived from his bitterness. The hate is derived from what he did to put himself in that situation. If anybody disagrees with me with this, it's simply because maybe you just don't personally like me, but the information that I put out clearly states, clearly defines this man's mental instability without question. So do yourself a favor. If you haven't caught his show and you want to listen to the whole thing, I have an upload. It might be uploaded already. I'm not sure. There's be an upload. Actually, it's a live. Actually, it's a live show, and it should be on by now. Go and listen to this, and you're going to freak out. You're going to think, how can a man think that way? A man who talks about freedom in the middle of being incarcerated for 23 months, could be facing prison time. He's talking about and puts a title on his show, can anybody find me this particular recreational vehicle attachment? It's unbelievable. If you didn't hear it yourself, you would never believe it. So I want you to hear it in case he takes it off. So you don't have to listen to his whole show. I just did how many minutes, actually, 10 minutes or whatever it was, I don't know, of his last show that just went off. It's absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. A man that is in total denial. A man that has lost his monkey ass mind completely. Who has more concerns than a recreational vehicle when he gets back to America, because I don't think he's going anywhere anytime soon. Be quite frank with you. It's an amazing mental illness. Just amazing. So go listen to my show. Unfucking believable. Pizza and prophecy. You know, I don't have to be a prophet to figure certain things out. And what prompted me to do another show? Well, I'm going to tell you why. Because I seem to get, see, they kind of a little bit burned underneath there, didn't they? They did. But I'm not going to complain about it. I smelt it at the place. Oh, there we go. Not too bad. Not too bad. A little bit burnt on there, huh?
Yeah.
But I didn't yell at the guy and tell him to take the pizza back. Now, what are you girls looking at? You're waiting for a crust, right? No, you just got to lose weight. No. Well, I guess there's a purpose to this show. It's really nothing I haven't said before on previous shows, but Bowery, dude. I mean, wow. I don't know. Maybe I could feel sad for you at this point. If that's even possible. By the way, these two large pizzas here, $9.90 for both. $9.90, in case you're wondering. What I heard earlier, that you all heard, was really making me think that, well, I've never seen anybody that bitter in my life. Never. Must be sucking bitter lemons all day, because what he had to say about the Filipino people was horrible. When Popeye and people like that put shows on about me, saying what a horrible person I am. Sorry, but there's no comparison. At all. There's none. This is a man who has sealed his future. There's no doubt about it. Not even the bitter Popeye can really pull rank on this one. And but you all heard it. No, he doesn't belong in the Philippines at all. If anybody doesn't, it's definitely him. With that kind of attitude, he does not need to ever come back to the Philippines again. Ever. And hopefully he will serve time as a result of all this. Maybe he just gave up. I don't know. Some people do that. They give up. They feel there's no way out of this situation. So I'm just going to, go full range with this. Go ballistic. And say what he wants to say. With some kind of self-satisfaction. Whatever you think it might be. But I'll tell you something. Yes, it warranted another show. I don't care if I did 20 today. As long as I'm making a point. Well, Mick, you still think Barry is a desirable person in this country? Mick? What do you think, Mick? Are you going to pair me to Barry? I don't think so. I don't think so. We're the better race? You all heard that. Everything's about dicks with this guy. Do you notice everything's about that? Why is that? When he gets mad at somebody, does he have an inferiority complex when it comes to His physiology, or that's why he keeps on talking about that stupid song. Maybe it somehow entices him. I don't know. I have to actually listen to my own show over again. It's not that I was in disbelief of what I heard. I mean, this is exactly his style. And he wants leniency from me or a court? Really? Or the Philippines government? Don't think that's going to happen. Nope. I'm like, what the fuck? Just when you think you hear it all, you don't. Yeah, it's a pizza time tonight. Didn't feel like cooking. It's a very thin pizza. It's not like you'd get in the States, but $9.90 for both of these so-called large pizzas. They're very thin, but they're not bad. I've grown accustomed to the taste. Of course, I doctor it up. Any more lemons? Oh, don't bother, don't bother. Yeah, that's right. You got pepperoni and you got the Hawaiian. Now, if your brother's lucky enough, he'll get a couple of slices from this if he comes home. Yeah. Oh, there'll be plenty, there'll be plenty. Barry, I gotta tell you, man, I don't know how many times I can tell you, but do you not understand what you're doing? I don't know, I'm beginning to get to a point I almost feel sad for the guy that he's that far gone. He's got the rest of his life to live. Shit, I'm 20 years older than this guy, you know? And, gosh, there's no comparison. You can't live life that way all the time, man. You just can't do that. It's not healthy for you. And now that you've attacked not only me, but the Philippine people and the government itself, where do you think you're going to go with this? You ordering people to go and put a bullet in my head or something, I may turn against you from somebody out there. Ever think about that?
Yummy. Pizza yummy.
They love pizza crust, the dogs.
Pizza yummy.
Look at these girls, these beautiful girls. Barry, I don't know what to tell you at this point. You got yourself in a big old mess that you're not going to get out of. You're not. Did you guys hear what he said about the Filipinos? They got a small dick. That Americans are the superior race. And something about the economy that, you know, we do something with the Philippines or something. That they should get behind him and kiss his ass. Come on, dude. That's pretty shitty, I must say. No, you have absolutely no future in the Philippines at all. You have none. The Philippines is going to spit you out. They're going to spit you out. That's what they're going to do. It was horrible what you said. Hey, look, I realize you're not feeling good. You got lung problems, throat problems, whatever's going on with you. All right. You're feeling kind of miserable, but this is your normal behavior. There's absolutely no excuse. There's no excuse for what you said about the Filipino culture and people. No, we are not the superior race. And if you are looking down at Filipinos in that way, you should not be in this country. Whether you're kicked out or you do it voluntarily, you should not be in this country. You have a Filipina girlfriend. Oh, he says, but I respect her. But she's Filipino, man. Because you're knocking your girlfriend's culture. That's what you're doing. She should object to that and say something to you. If she was smart. Oh, I like her and her family. I really don't think her family likes you, but nevertheless, you knocked her family too by saying that. Because they're Filipino. Did you not? Sometimes you just go too far, Barry. Too far. I wouldn't worry about me right now. You better worry about yourself and your future, because you don't have one here. Well, pardon me. You might have a future here. In a prison cell. And more so, it is actually looking that way. And if I had any doubts before, I don't have any doubts right now. I don't. None. So prepare. All right, girls. This is your last. My goodness. They love pizza crust. That's enough for me. I don't want to get fat. I have to have my own goddamn zip code. No, sir. Not for me. I'm sorry, man, but it's just horrible what you said. And I can't get over it. I don't want to get over it. In a way, I want to celebrate what you said, because you are showing people your true colors. If you've never did before, in such a way, you have shown your true colors now. The Philippines people with your attitude don't want you out here. There are things about the culture out here that even I would say is kind of quirky. It's different from the Western culture. I acknowledge that all the time. But I still have respect for the people. And the person that I've been in a long-term relationship with. She's not perfect either. She does some things that irritates me sometimes. Because it's what she may do or say is very different than I would do or say in my culture. But I understand that. I completely understand that. I'm not going to attack her for that. But you have no right attacking the Filipino people like you do. Who the fuck are you, Barry, to attack them that way? They don't deserve that. You gotta understand, you keep on talking about America. This is not America. You're not in America. When did you figure that out, that you weren't in America? And you expect everything to be the same as America? Then you are in the wrong place. I never expected this place to be anything close to America. I already knew that before I even made my first trip. Now you're paying the price of that big mouth that you like to run. All you religious folks out there saying that this guy doesn't deserve to be in detention for as long as he has in a court case. You changing your mind when you're seeing the real, true Barry Jordan? Makes you think a little bit more, doesn't it? Find fault with me, but I'm not the person to find fault with. I think I've done every one of you people a huge favor. And you didn't have to spend not even a single peso out of your pocket, really, when you think about it in the long run. The only person that helped with this was actually John Blaze, really, when I think about it. And that was a long time ago. And yes, the money was actually used toward my lawyer, contrary to certain people's beliefs. The man expects to get donations to pay for a lawyer when he just totally destroys his relationship with his lawyers. I believe this is the third one. Oh yeah, she'll come back and represent me again if I give her $50,000. I mean pesos. No, she threw you to the curb, Mr. Jordan. She threw you to the curb. But she'll take your money. She'll take your money, though. But what can she do with the case? It's really one-sided. You already shot your mouth off in court. You've already made a fool of yourself. The court has already seen you on big screen on what you said. How do you get out of this situation, sir? Please tell us all. How are you going to get out of this? So you think by trying to get me deported, you think that's going to solve all your problems? No, I'm afraid not. Your problem is just going to begin if that happened. Just beginning. And so is your girlfriend. This is too early yet. There are ramifications with every single thing you do in this country. It is not our country. It is not our country. No matter what your status is, whether you're on a 9A, traditional, I guess, is that what it is? Tourist. Whether you're on a 13A or whether you're on an SRRV, it's still not your country. And as much as there are quirky things in this culture that Western culture would say is kind of quirky, different, that kind of makes it rather more interesting in certain ways, really. Being around people that are different. You may not approve of different aspects of the culture out here, Barry, but you made that choice to run away from America, from your problems and bench warrants and everything else you had against you, to come to this country. And when you first reached the shores of this country, you started head first, causing problems and trouble for Filipinos ever since you have been here. How does it feel to be in the situation you are in now? And you think you and your girlfriend trying to get me deported is going to solve all your problems? No, that's when your problems will just begin. And if you think you're deep in doo-doo right now, you haven't seen anything yet. You haven't seen anything yet. If people are afraid to talk here, I understand why. We're kind of going heavy duty on this bastard. So you had a rotten childhood. That's too bad. And it really is. I don't approve of that kind of behavior. But you ain't going to call me one of those people. And that's why you got 5 charges against you. I was not going to stand back for this. No matter what Mick thinks, whatever what Popeye thinks, because they're not wearing my shoes again. They're not in my shoes. And if you can't understand the situation and how widespread his allegations of me being a child molester, that's some strong-ass words. That where I come from, there ain't gonna be no damn court. We'd handle it different ways. There ain't gonna be no money expenses for court or anything, man. Buy a guy a beer. He'd be glad to take care of scum like you. That's what you are. You are pond scum. You are the lowest class fucking creature walking the earth. Your slime, your mannerism, your speech, your talk, your bitterness, your language, your rudeness of farting and burping all the time, taking a shit while you're still doing a live stream. There's nothing classy about you at all. You are absolutely an undesirable by every definition of that word. You're an undesirable by every definition of that word. How dare you call me an undesirable? Yes, I have done good things out here. Yes, I did give a brand new Popeye, not my old TV. I gave a brand new TV to her kid's school when theirs broke. I did not take the new one, Robert, and replace it with my old TV. That's not what happened. I've done a lot of good things during my time here in the Philippines. It was 9 years ago. It's a pretty big list, actually. I don't tell all. I've done good for my community. What have you done for your community that's good? Besides wanting to date women, then they only have to have a job or else you won't date them. You come over here with practically no fucking money. You come over here at the time making less than 500 at the time. I think it was 470 to 490 when you showed me on your phone. When you came over to Rosca subdivision where I lived with Hagante. You showed me at the time. You ran away from your problems like a lot of YouTubers do on here. And I can name names, but I think you know who they are. They were all running away from something. TROs against them. Having to protect their own family because a gang was after this certain person. And this certain person fled to the Philippines. This is what we have out here. People who talk and talk and talk and talk. But look at their backgrounds. Look at their backgrounds, not mine. I'm not embarrassed of anything I've ever done. You should be, sir. You shouldn't be here. You're not going to be here. You are going to spend time in a prison. And I'm going to make sure that that happens. Because that's the only way you're going to learn. Filipinos should be pissed at you. For those people who listen to your show and had listened to the broadcast that I copied of what you said about the Filipino people and the government. You were attacking everybody, attacking me, attacking viewers and donators, attacking everyone. Everyone. Attacking the immigration, attacking the U.S. Embassy, attacking the Department of Justice, attacking my lawyers, your lawyers. Who haven't you attacked so far? Come on. You are bitter, so bitter, that it's eating you up to pieces. Your gut is falling apart. Your lungs are falling apart. You're overweight. You eat like shit. You think you're above the law. And you come on your show saying, I'm not above the law. No, but you think you are above the law. You think you're above the law. But you're not above the law, obviously, because you're paying for your own immigration overstay. Purposeful overstay, not administrative. Not administrative. There's a big difference here. Big difference. You chose to not pay what is required from all of us to pay these visa fees. Why are you special or any different than anybody else? People should be pissed off at you on that alone. When they have their obligations that they have to fulfill if they plan to live in this country. Even visit, for a couple of months. We all have to do that. I was put in a predicament by your girlfriend and you. A very unfair one, unjust, and very, very vindictive. You are both very vindictive people. You have an axe to grind with me? Well, maybe you had your chance at TGIF, and you didn't wait for us outside. You did not, because as soon as we finished our meal, we left. And we left shortly after you and Brian, your protector, and that's the only reason you came there, because you never had the balls to come there alone. But of course you had your knife in your pocket, didn't you? Feel lucky. What did Clint say that? Feel lucky. Very lucky. Because if I was to get into battle with you, it would not be a pretty scene, I'll guarantee you that. It would not. You didn't wait for us out there. Shortly after you guys left, 10 minutes later, we took off. That's correct. You talk big with your mouth, but there's been many instances where people had a problem with you that you had a problem with, and you went and hid. You went and hid. This is like Popeye does. Goes into hiding. You were so paranoid that you were looking at your goddamn door every 3 minutes. I've seen all the shows you put on. Every one of them. I'm witness and other people are witness to it. You are a coward in every way of the fucking word. You are a coward. You are a coward. You've always been a coward. Oh, you think you had an illustrious career flipping waffles? Well, at least it was an honest job. I'll give you that. Yes, I did make it through college. I do have a bachelor's degree. I've made accomplishments. What have you done? Except piss people off and get beat up by bullies? Sexually accosted by your father? That's horrible, man. That's horrible. That should never happen. I don't advocate that kind of behavior, and I never will. So when you turn around and you call me of what your father did to you, you're damn right you're going to get a reaction from it. You got a reaction from me 100,000 times, and you got a legal reaction to you, which you're paying for right now. How dare you ever call me such a name? How dare you ever call anybody that name, nevertheless myself, repeatedly? I'd understand you say some things when you're pissed off, and we all do that. We all do it, and I've done it too. The difference is, Big Mouth, the difference is, Slick, is that you continue on a continual basis, and you don't shut your mouth. Where did it get you? You say you're not above the law. You certainly are, thinking that you're above the law. Hello, best and brightest. We've seen it many times when confronted in person. These clowns all fold. Yes, they do. It's really easy to talk from his detention cell, how brave he is. He's going to kick Ricky's ass. He's going to kick everybody's ass. He's going to kick my ass. But in real life, you think that would ever happen? Never. You think at TGIF he was going to do anything? Yeah, he was going to do something. Two things. One, because he couldn't fight with his fist. He was picking up a liquor glass that he was going to throw at my head. Second, if that didn't work, he had his knife in his right pants pocket. Yeah, that's a brave guy. You're a pussy, man. Face it, you're a fucking pussy. Ricky sweating like a pig in front of S&R when you confronted him was classic. Yeah. Why didn't Ricky do anything to me then? These people are all mouth. Now, he took advantage of Fazio. He took advantage of Fazio because Fazio was in bad shape. Wasn't like me. He knew I could give some kind of results. But with Fazio, it was easy picking. Fat and out of shape, out of breath. He took advantage of Fazio is what he did. There was no excuse for that. He's lucky he only served 4 days in prison, or in jail. He deserved more. Not that I like Fazio, but that was a coward's way of approaching situations. And this is what we have on here, cowards. People that ran away from their country because they did something wrong. They didn't run towards something, they ran away from something. Hello, Fistos. I noticed Heminger has been hanging around chat lately. Do not trust him I don't trust anybody. I don't even trust you, no offense. So, Mick Fisher, what are you thinking now? Bud, what are you thinking? After hearing what Barry said about the people, his attitude, his bitterness, are you still thinking, Mick, that he doesn't deserve what he's getting? Just a question, Mick. Just a question. I know, you'll be a real asshole and a wise guy and say something like you usually do. Yeah, I'm sure you will. Mr. Religious. It's all these religious people that don't practice what they preach. People like Mick say, oh yeah, but that's too much punishment for this guy. He don't deserve it. The hell he don't. The hell he don't. How about all the women and shit out there he gave problems to? Would you want your sister to date him, Mick? Your daughter, perhaps? No, you wouldn't. So I rest my case on that. You don't think Barry deserves what he's getting? Anybody out there thinks he doesn't deserve what he's getting? Just listen to his shows very carefully and listen to what I put on. Listen to his show he put on today. That he took off like I thought he would, but I was smart enough to copy it and put it on my show to make everybody hear what this guy is really all about. Best and brightest says Mick Fisher, just a loner looking for people to call friends. Yeah, I never had the impression that Mick was socially, I don't know, in the pink. You know what I mean? But that's his social life. It ain't mine. I think he's very independent, and there's nothing wrong with being independent. But everybody has a story behind them. They're not going to tell you everything. Hell no. Popeye's not going to tell you what his life is really like. Nico is not going to tell you what it's really, but you don't have to with Nico, because Nico shows what his life. His life is a fucking blade of grass and him being tied to his mother's apron strings and kissing Popeye's ass. That's his life. They all talk about me, say bad things. Look in the mirror, pals. Reflect a little bit before you call me a name or label me anything. You're shameful people. You're an embarrassment to your family, I'm sure. These people, you know, they talk. They had drug pasts. They were drug addicts in their past, some of them. Some of them were working in the drug industry, in fact. Most of them are fucking alcoholics. I don't drink. That's why I don't associate with these kind of people. I'm not uppity. I'm not snooty in any form or way. I'm definitely not a narcissist because I'm the biggest critic of my own self. So you can't be a narcissist. But most of these people are. But they have nothing to show for it. Being a narcissist is very apparent. Too numerous on YouTube. They're all narcissists. They think their shit don't stink and they're better than everybody else. Maybe they have a bigger wallet, a bigger, large wallet. They could have a harem and use women with their fucking wallets. How right is that? How righteous is a person who does that? When I come on here, I like to present the truth. I like to present the facts. And if it hurts somebody's feelings, that's too goddamn bad. Just reflect upon yourself before you start throwing stones and rocks at anybody else and trying to define their character in comparison to yours, which nobody on here could come forward and say, I'm without sin, that I haven't done a lot of really horrible things in their life, haven't stepped on people, stepped on their toes, and done some really non-righteous shit, using and abusing women, people pretending they're so religious, but yet they got a harem, and they let their wives mess around with other women, get other women pregnant inside of the marriage. You're going to tell me that's normal? That's not sick? Anybody going to tell me that? Tell me right now. So people that talk about me and others, take a good look at yourself. You're just an empty shell, because that's what you are. When's Balmer going to prison? That's when I'm hanging about for. It's been 10 years too late already. I agree. Loser says, I wonder how Shaw feels knowing Barry thinks she is a lower than him. Exactly. That's his true colors showing out. Oh, I wouldn't do that with my girlfriend, though, because, I get certain benefits of her being a female. I'm in a relationship, of course. That happens in your relationship. That's a plus, right? Oh, am I calling her a whore? He'll come on and say, is that what he'll say? You're calling my girlfriend a whore. Am I? Really? Saying that you have relationships with your girlfriend? That's not calling her a whore, you moron. The only moron that's on here is you. Well, there's more than you. But you're probably the biggest fucking moron that's ever disgraced the Philippines YouTube genre. Ever. And that supersedes Peter Van Dever by milestones. Milestones. Mephisto says, Shaw was told initially with video proof of his actions, and she blocked. Oh, you had told Shaw initially with video proof of his actions, and she blocked everyone and said they are just trolls and haters that are jealous. You said that she's not too bright. Best and Brightest says that audio of Barry talking down on Philippines is the first thing you should play. Oh, believe me, it's all planned out. He's going to get some pretty heavy-duty time. I'll make sure of it. I'm doing every one of you guys out there a favor. Nothing ever being done back to me is a favor. Very rarely has it ever happened. I'm doing your job. Appreciate it. I take the stress. I put out the money. I have to deal with the bullshit of courts. Neither one of you people do. How many people have really called the authorities on him? Raise your hand. Come on, be honest. I'm not your sheriff in this town. I'm not the sheriff. And I'm not the deputy. And I'm not the deputy dog. I was just a person who got sick and tired of somebody's extreme bullshit, extreme lies, continual, his horrible behavior in the Philippines, labeling me something that no man would or should ever call another man if it wasn't true. Some people don't live through that experience. And maybe he's fortunate for those that he has really affected in his life for 10 years. Then maybe he's lucky being in that jail cell. Because if he was on the streets at this point, for any rhyme or reason, his life would be in danger from somebody out there, I'm sure, that he's pissed off. And he's pissed off a lot of people. He'll run into bars because that's where he hangs out. There's always going to be somebody he owes money to. There's always going to be somebody that had his girlfriend pissed off at him, or an ex-girlfriend that he pissed off. He can't run in this town. He's going to be out of the Philippines where he belongs. Look, Joe, you said she needs to hear what he said. I don't really think she cares. You want to know the truth? Look, I don't know what's going on with her, and for legal purposes, I'm not going to spout out a bunch of shit what I think in my mind. Okay? I'm not going to do that. She has her rhyme and reason why she's with him. And everybody can scratch their heads, be bewildered and in wonderment of why either one of them want each other, but that's really between those two. They have to work that shit out, not us. It's not our job to work that out. She's heard everything. She's heard his horrible rants. How could she not? He was living with her too, and she visits him. She hears him on YouTube, ranting, knocking down Filipinos. It's her culture. Why is she not taking offense to what he says, especially today? That Filipinos are lower class people than Americans? And that Filipinos have little dicks? He's him and dicks. What's him with dicks? Dicks. Guess the apple don't fall far from the tree after all. He's always talking about men's dicks. Jesus Christ, Barry. Hang it up, man. Hang it up, Mr. One-Liner. Hang it up, dude. Put a strap on that jock or whatever. Calm down, boy. You put yourself in a world of fucking hurt. Now you got the Filipinos out there, and Filipinos are going to be against your ass. To your guards. Did you want to tell your guards? Maybe I should play that to your guards. That they're low-class people. They don't compare to the superiority and mental acuity of Americans, and that they have small dicks. Why don't you tell your guards that? Why don't you tell your guards that? Slick. Why don't you do that? She's the Filipino equivalent of an American hillbilly. Well, those are your words. I know she does hear what he says. That's the point. Even Sheila went through that for a while, and everybody was again scratching their heads saying, why did she put up with him? So she finally woke up. It takes some people longer than others to wake up and smell the coffee. The Copico coffee, of course. It takes people a while. Then they wake up one day with full clarity, saying, I've wasted how many years of my life with this fucking loser? Precious years that you cannot replace. Precious years. Amazing. The fact is, she is all he has. Literally, not figuratively. Nobody wants to support this guy anymore. And those that pretend they do are doing it just for show. Just to get noticed. To be part of the big boys club. It's a shit club, by the way. Of a bunch of fucking losers. Fuck you religious people who think that you're better than thou. That if you're not religious, that you don't have the right to have your own beliefs. That if you don't believe in God, you're a bad person. Is that what Barry says? Well, he is a bad person already. But he believes in God. He's a born again. He started really believing in God when he first got incarcerated. Oh, gee. We saw that happening, didn't we? All of a sudden, everything was quoting Bible verses. That's what losers do when they get to the bottom of the barrel, same as alcoholics. When they reach the bottom of the barrel, and believe me, I knew a guy, many actually in Seattle, did the same thing. They found God. They found God. They found God. When they hit the bottom of the fucking barrel, and everybody in their life, including family, abandoned them because they were a raging fucking alcoholic. And they got sick of it, and they said, fuck off. Then they realized how alone they were in their life. When you become as bitter as this guy, you are alone. And you will be alone the rest of your life. It's not wishful thinking in any way. It's just a fact. You can't change some people. You cannot change some people. You're not going to change him. No woman's going to change him. Obviously, someone has not changed him. That sees him as a darling man. Her hero. Her fucking hero. He'd rather have a hero sandwich than have a woman, really. The man needs his own fucking zip code now. How's that working for you there, Slick? So all you got is your food. And you got the internet. But that's soon going to be gone too. What are you going to do then, Slick? When that's gone, look, for the 1,000th time, you do everything to yourself. Stop pointing fingers and everybody else pointing fingers. It's this guy, not him. That he's a righteous man that got a bad deal from Frank. That's not the way it worked. He is what he is, and where he's at is where he should be, and more. And he's going to pay the price of what he said to me. You don't call any man. I mean, we're talking about like daily for how many years? Especially since he got incarcerated. We all get upset. We all say things we regret later on. The difference is, and I can't repeat this enough, the difference is, how often do you do it? Every fucking day? I mean, you made your point. Someone doesn't like another person. You made your point. Tell them, I don't like you. In fact, I hate you. Whatever it might be. Get it out of your system. That's perfectly okay. I don't mind that. You've expressed yourself more times than I could possibly count how much you hate me, and you want to kill me, inciting other people to kill me. You got so much against you right now, dude, that I would not be surprised if you got 25 years. I wouldn't be surprised. To you, that would be a life sentence. So be it. No remorse for you. No remorse what I did to put you in this position. You just don't call a man a child predator. You don't do that and think that you're above the law and talk about your bullshit freedom of speech crap, speeches that you do all the time. You don't have freedom of speech to a certain level in any country, don't matter what country it's in. You can't say that. Say that to a man on the street. Go ahead. You'll never be on the street for a while anyway. But you would never say that to a man on the street that you didn't like. To call him a sexual predator. That guy would take you by the throat, break your fucking neck. That's what he would do. You wouldn't get away with that on the street or in a bar. No, you wouldn't. But behind the protective screen of your monitor and cell phone, you feel that you could freely say that, and you try to emphasize how much freedom of speech that you have. But where did it get you so far is the main question. Where has it gotten you so far? Think about that. You are the biggest fucking loser that has ever been in this genre and outside of it. You don't belong in the Philippines. You belong in prison with people of your likes. You belong out of this country, never to come back here again, ever. And to involve your girlfriend was the worst thing that you could have done. So much for love, huh, bummer? So much for love, because if you loved that woman, you would not have involved her. And so now where does she stand? She don't even know where she stands. She's probably regretting that she put that report in. Because there's too many issues, too many legal issues involved in what she did. Making a phony statement like that to try to get a man parted from his loving family and partner because her boyfriend is feeling a little upset about a situation that he created for himself. To gain revenge. Oh, that's revenge? Oh, it absolutely is. To try to part me from the love of my life and at my advanced stage to take that away from me? If you think in any fucking way, either one of you, think that that's just going to pass, then you've both got another thing coming. You both got another thing coming. I'm going as hard on your ass, Barry, that I could possibly ever get in court. I'm not leaving a rock unturned. And for your girlfriend, she will pay the legal price for this. I'm pretty sure that's going to happen. I've already talked to my attorneys about this numerous times. We're going to see what happens with this report. A report that she should have actually went or written or went to the office and retract the report. Why? Because it was untrue. It was not factual. She's over there vacationing with her fucking family. So much for PTSD and depression. Gee, I wish I had her spunk. I must be depressed because she's spunky to me. Partying with her family, going to events, holding events, cooking for people, running a store, singing and dancing in the parks. PTSD, my lily white fucking ass. My fucking ass, you're depressed. You don't look depressed to me. And I love that one video, you're in the park. I always talk about it. Life is wonderful, or something was the title. Under that red trellis, and you're just dancing to ethereal music. Oh, you look so depressed and PTSD. I'll tell you what PTSD is. When you almost get into a fucking accident that could kill you. Several times I've had that. I'll tell you what PTSD is. When you lose people that you love, that can cause that. That can cause depression and anxiety. I've lost a lot of people in my life, including a living child. Don't tell me what depression and PTSD is, you motherfucker. You guys are really something else. Tell it to the fucking judge. That's what I tell you. Tell it to the fucking judge. I'll tell you what depression and PTSD is, you motherfucker. You really are, Barry. I hope he just throws the fucking book at you and nobody has to deal with you for the rest of your living life. If I was a praying man, not a praying mantis like you are, I would get down on my hands and knees and pray to the Lord. Do your magical stuff, Lord. But instead, I pray to karma. And karma's been working out pretty good so far for you. You don't like what I'm saying, dude? Fuck you. Fuck you. You're going away and you're going to go to prison. If it's the last thing I do in my life, while there's breath in my lungs. You're going down to Funky Town. I don't think you're going to like the accommodations, especially when you ain't got no goddamn phone, ain't got no goddamn Xbox. But that's going to happen earlier, like soon. And what are you going to do without your phone, Ace? Einstein? Mantis? What are you going to do without your phone? What are you going to do without your phone? When your world falls apart, then you realize, fuck, I made a mistake. I shouldn't have fucked with this guy. Are you figured it out so far as a wrong guy to fuck with? Have you been able to figure this out yet? Steven says the only PTSD she will have is from there, yeah. And who the hell knows? She ain't got from all the stress of this. How he controls her. Sure, a woman's gonna have PTSD and depression. Being in a relationship with that fucking loser. She's falling apart because of him. He caused stress in her life. He got her involved to make a complaint against me. And she knows how serious this is. And she knows how serious I am about this. Follow me? When this world falls apart, it's crumbled to nothing almost 2 years ago when his world fell apart, yes. He has nothing. He lies to people. How many times he said he was married? We all know that he's not married. He lies to his donators. People who've given money out of their pocket, who were generous with him, that thought it was going to be used for a specific purpose, but it wasn't. Instead, booze and cigarettes most of the time. Then more contemporary times now, he's crying out that he wants people money to help him with a lawyer. But even the lawyers got rid of this piece of shit. This bitter lemon that he is. Even his lawyers discarded him. Because he's a piece of shit. And nobody wants to represent him. Have I made my point, folks? Yes or no? Because I'm going to watch a television show. I want to thank you guys for listening, but certainly revert back to some of the videos I posted and what he said about the Filipinos. It was a horrible thing. Horrible. Because he's a horrible person. Somebody give him 6 feet of rope. Give him rope. Because he's already hung himself. He's hung himself figuratively. Well, maybe he'll hang himself literally. Put himself out of his fucking misery. I wouldn't shed a fucking tear. You can think of me anything you want to fucking think of me, folks, but I'm nothing like Barry. I am nothing like him at all. I have a good fucking heart. And I've proved that many times. I don't have to prove it to anybody but me and my family. I don't have to prove it to anybody. It's easy to label something to people what they're not. Because you have a beef with them. Yeah. Very easy. But the very people that push this shit out verbally are the people that were running away from something in their life and they got a lot to hide. Look at Popeye, the total waste case that he is. Aging old sailor that goes back to the laurels of 45 years ago when he was in the fucking Navy. Sits there with his fucking rum or gin, smoking his fucking Camels. Coughing at the end of each sentence. Have you heard me cough once yet on here tonight? I don't think so. He does smoke, he does drink, I know his voice. He's a loser. One of the biggest losers on the list is Popeye. And all his so-called friends that are laughing at him, they're not laughing with him. I see it. My viewers see this. We all see it. You're a loser, Robert. You're a big fucking loser. You live a horrible life. Your wife left you because you were a jerk-off. Because you were very physical with her, weren't you? Weren't you, Popeye? You can't afford to talk about anybody on here, and I do mean anybody. You can't afford to talk about me. You can't even afford to talk about Barry. You can't. Because I think you're on the list of one of the top losers on here. That's my show. I hope you liked it. Fuck you, Barry. And whatever happens to you, it's going to happen big time. Big time. And you think you got your ace in the hole, but don't hold your breath. Don't hold your breath. You don't know me. You have been in the past 2 years beginning to know me very well. You fucked with the wrong person. Congratulations. You fucking loser.
This country has nothing to offer. America don't need the Philippines. We don't need this fucking place. They need America. Frank, you need to get this shit right, bro. The Philippines needs us. We don't need them. You understand me, motherfucker? Look, bro. If I was the president of the United States, I would hang you for treason, dude. I would hang you for being a traitor, period. Because that's what you are. You're a traitor to look, bro, I love my country. I moved here because it was cheap. No reason I moved here, but I would stand up and I would defend my country, bro, to my fucking death. Unlike you, Frank. They are lower than us, dude. Everybody looks at Filipinos as housemaids and shit cleaners. It's what the fuck? I'm not joking, dude. Research it, you'll see. Yeah. They are a lower race. They are. Where on the food chain does the Philippines sit? Where? America's number one, bro. Probably Russia's number 2, China's number 3, Japan's number 4, Taiwan's number 5, Australia's number 6, Canada, no. America, Canada, Australia, England, and then the other countries. But you gotta think about this, bro. America's a first world country. First world. Higher technologies, infrastructure in America, bro, is solid. Here, it's shit. The food here is shit. Thank you, Big T, for that $2. Thank you, sir. That's it. That's all. But what else do we need the Philippines for, James? What else do we need it for? Other than that, what else? Well, what do we need the Philippines for? Tell me. See, we can use Guam and all them. We don't need to use Philippines for that. We can just get out of the fucking thing and let China take this fucking place over. Don't you think? You know, Frank, I hasn't lost my mind, bro. You have. You've lost your mind. Doing the shit you're doing, saying the shit you're saying. You're still on there running your fucking mouth, knowing you're about to be deported, dude. I'm so glad and angry for you to get up here and run your mouth. I'm just getting on me talking, bro. I'm talking shit. This channel is for entertainment purposes only. Anything said on this channel is null and void. So therefore, I love the Philippines too. They're good people. I got respect for the people here. I do. I got a lot of respect for people here.
Yeah, we heard how much respect you have for Filipino
race,
people.
man. They know it.
He didn't even realize what he just said 5 minutes before.
I know Guam's a U.S. territory. I know that. Yeah, I know shit. You gotta think about this, bro. Other than the military shit, other than for the base, what the fuck do we need the Philippines for? The food here is shit. I mean, go try to get a good steak, bro. It's just chewy as fuck. Can you get beef here? Half the time you don't know if the pork or chicken's gonna be bad. street restaurant, dude. You're putting your own life in your hands.
Come inside, Ginger.
Oh, and what's your name? Shaw's heard me say all the same shit before. She's heard me say it. I've said it. I've said it to her. I've said it to her. I've said it being out in public. I've said it. America's a superpower, bro. America is the boss of all nations. Nobody can touch us, bro. No one can. No one cannot be. No country cannot be. No country cannot be. No country can. No country can. And Frank, no, I'm not undesirable. You are. You need to come to terms with that, Frank. You're the undesirable, not me.
From what you said? Seriously? You're as undesirable as they come.
No.
Tell that to the Filipinos when you go to prison. What you think about
They
their
were
little
girls who
dick.
got tired of dealing with fucking Frank.
Tell that to the Filipinos when you're in fucking prison. That you're superior than them. That they have a little dick. I dare you. See how far that's going to get you.
Got tired of all the bullshit drama here on fucking YouTube. I think that's so he got off. But anyway, they're low on the food chain, dude. All y'all can hate me for it, I don't care. I'm just telling the fucking truth. You don't like the truth, I don't know what to fucking tell you.
Barry doesn't know what the truth is. He's never told the truth in his entire life.
You're talking bad about the Philippines? Won't get me deported. So you understand this. And I don't here now, okay, so don't throw me the fuck out of the country. That's exactly what I'm fucking doing.
We'll remember those words. Because you also didn't think that immigration would find you and you'd be incarcerated. You also didn't think that you would have a trial on you. So much for that, Einstein.
So I have the right to my own opinion. I can express my opinion. And that's my opinion. Plain and simple.
And we're glad that you expressed it about the Filipino people and the culture. We're really happy that you did that. Maybe your guards would like to know how you feel.
That's my opinion, bro. You don't see us every Tom, Dick, and Harry come to the U.S. To go to the U.S., you gotta have a visa to come to our country. We don't gotta have a visa to go to most countries in the world. Because we are the U.S.
Oh, please.
It's a straight up privilege being an American. I love it. I love being an American.
Well, you'll be back sometime after you serve your prison sentence. We'll guarantee you that much.
I do. I love being an American.
Well, you're a piss-poor example of an American.
No, we don't. How? Protect us. They ain't gonna, what they gonna protect us, bro? They can't protect themselves. James, Filipinos can't protect themselves, dude. They can't protect themselves. Dude, they don't even have a good infrastructure. So how the fuck they gonna protect us?
Well, I'll tell you what. Say something nasty to one of these officials, like police officers. You see, they don't fucking blow your fucking head off.
They can't protect us. And see, this is what I'm talking about. Right over this shit, right? This is what I'm talking about with this bullshit, right? Talking bad about the Philippines.
I think the authorities are going to give a fuck.
Right? Talking bad about Philippines, you can't be doing that. It's their country. You know their president's an American president, right?
What?
Bongbong Marcos may as well be a fucking American citizen, dude.
Marco is an American president. I didn't know that.
This country's being run by an American. They don't have no nuclear submarines. They don't have anything nuclear here. Their infrastructure's shit. Their government's too fucking stingy. They keep all the money and don't do nothing for their people.
But you've lived here for 10 years, right?
Bro, James, look. I understand what I'm saying. We don't need these motherfuckers, bro. They need us. Who's protecting them from China right now? Us. What other country does for the fucking Philippines other than us?
Now he's a political
Who does
analyst.
for them? Americans do for them. No other country does anything for these motherfuckers but us. They should be
Motherfuckers.
kissing our asses, bro.
Calling Filipinos
Instead,
motherfuckers.
they suck on the Chinese's dicks. Japanese,
Here we go with the
Everything
dicks.
about dicks. What is this thing with dicks with this guy?
Koreans dicks, right? Let them do it, but they want to do.
Dicks. Everything about dicks. What's with that?
You really think we need protection from China, dude? You got some problems, bro. That's really what you think. You think the Philippines is protecting America from China.
He don't get it. He don't get it. He just don't get it.
So I don't understand how the Philippines is protecting us from China. Please explain this concept to know.
A lot of things he don't understand.
How protect us from China.
He doesn't get it.
It don't matter if you served or not. My grandmother served in World War II. It don't matter, bro. Who served and who didn't. So tell me.
What James Boldsworth was trying to tell Einstein here, Boldsworth, who served in the service, that America favors Philippines in many ways. It's what James Boldsworth calls strategic positioning. And Einstein doesn't understand that. Why we have bases at Subic and all these places. It puts America in a good position as Philippines being an ally of America. So we could have our military bases in this country where we could keep an eye on China. And does the Philippines people get protected by having our bases here? Sure. Scratch your back, I'll scratch, you scratch mine. But Einstein doesn't understand it. He's now a war analyst, he's a political analyst. He's nothing but a dumb shit. Nothing but a dumb shit. I'm almost reluctant to play the rest of this, to tell you the truth, but let's give it a shot.
Exactly. How the fuck are the Filipinos protecting us from fucking China? Please, dude, elaborate. Please. Come on, man. I'm waiting for your...
He's mad against the world. Now he's attacking the Philippines and America, rah. And Filipinos are horrible people with little dicks. And they're dumbasses. And he's saying it all. I mean, just listen. Just listen.
That's not what James Boldsworth was trying to say, Einstein.
Don't be a white knight, cuz. Don't be a white knight.
Cuz...
Don't be a white knight, bro. Yeah, I know what strategic positioning means. I don't know what it means. But please tell me, you're saying that they're protecting us from China. No. How are they protecting us from China?
He still don't get it.
You're saying that the Philippines we're being protected by them, okay? What the fuck does the U.S. need to be protected by who? By the Philippines for? Please explain this to me. I'd love to know.
Well, people try to explain a lot of things to you, Einstein, but you're too dense to understand.
I don't think you know what the fuck you're talking about, dude.
And I suppose you do.
Honestly, I don't. Honestly, I don't. Bro, I don't think you know your ass on the ground, cuz, to be honest with you.
And all your knowledge got you in the position you're in right now, didn't it, Einstein?
Be honest, I know I don't want to see your asshole, bro. I don't think you know what the fuck you're talking about. You said they protect us from China. How the fuck do they protect us from China, dude? Come on, man. Explain.
I give up, guys. Have you heard enough? I think I have for one day. Wow, what a day. Yeah, I pumped out the videos today. You better believe I did. You better believe I did for good purpose. Now you see what Einstein's all about here, what Slick is all about. If you were pro Slick, maybe you have some different thoughts at this point. What a loser this guy is. What an uneducated hillbilly he is. What a dope he is. What a numbskull. What an illiterate he is. Heard enough? Yeah, I think I have. For one day, that was quite enough. What a moron this guy is. Now he's a political analyst. He's a war analyst. He doesn't know a thing about strategic planning and positioning, but he knows all. He knows so much that got him into a position of immigration and court. If he had any smart in him at all, he would have stopped doing YouTube the minute he got the charges put on him. He's still feeling sorry for Einstein now. Slick. Listen to your shows sometimes. Listen carefully before you go to bed. It'll certainly put you to sleep. It puts us to sleep. Listen to how stupid you sound. You're amazing. You're absolutely amazing. Good journey to you there, Slick. You got a journey ahead of your ass. You certainly do.